USPBL Baseball today is presented by The Long Drink. We have the visiting Westside Woolly Mammoths and the home Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers. The Beavers playing back-to-back here today at Jimmy John's Field. Jeremy Otto alongside Brendan Shabath to bring you the call here tonight. So glad I could tune in. Certainly a sun-soaked start to this Fireworks Friday here today. Two teams that looking for a win here.
Yeah, the Beavers need a win about as bad as I need a nice glass of ice-cold water right now. It's very hot today. The Mammoths were able to split with these Beavers in the doubleheader last weekend on Saturday, so that was nice for both teams to at least pick up one. That first game was obviously that very exciting one, a 4-2, 3-2 double play with the bases loaded to end the game. The Beavers win out in the field in the sudden death extras. The Mammoths win the low-scoring affair 1-0. On the second game on Saturday. But there was some excitement that day. Houston Parker had a grand slam. He's starting to come around. We saw Dakota McFadden catch for the first time for the Beavers. Saw him yesterday as well. Looked pretty decent. We might see him again today. But yeah, there's a lot to like about these two teams, but a lot of room for improvement too.
Well, the USPBL week started on Wednesday with the non-public. We had our first public game yesterday, and obviously we'll go through Sunday as well as we approach the 4th of July holiday. Overall, a pretty good day yesterday offensively for the Hoppers. They got past all the walks that we saw in the first 3 innings. But the thing that stood out, and we talked about it a little bit on air, when you look at 3, 4, 5, 6, even 7 or 8 in this Hoppers lineup is starting to develop quite nicely after some of the changes and cuts that have been made because of the showcase and just bringing new guys in. That could potentially be a really powerful lineup.
Yeah, it quickly seems. I think that weekend against the Unicorns where the Hoppers lost on the walk-off from Ari Sakopoulos and then 7-5 in a really good game on Sunday that was back and forth. That was the weekend that kind of solidified where they stand in the league for the time being, and that they started the year 0-5. It looked like they were going to be on the bottom rung for most of the year. They came back, rattled off 4 wins in a row, and then had that good weekend against the Unicorns. It kind of seems now, like we've talked about, they're for sure battling between the Mammoths for that number 2 spot. These lineups are very similar, I think, in the stats, in the power, and what they both contribute. But the thing I look at for the Hoppers is Yadi Rivera. We saw him get his first professional home run last night. That was a grand slam. Yeah. There are more of those to come. Noah Marcoux, we talked about. He's going to hit some home runs. Schellenbarger's had a home run and a double. He looks good defensively and right. He's going to hit more home runs. It seems like there's more potential to be unlocked with that Hoppers lineup, whereas this Mammoths team doesn't have as many fresh faces in the lineup, and we kind of know what they're going to bring, and they just lost one of their better power hitters who hit around 4, 5, 6 in Dakota McFadden to this Beavers team. So I think there's a little bit more potentially for the Hoppers, but the Mammoths have really kind of proven us wrong all year. A conversation we had at the start of the year was the stolen bases. It looked like with Sawan Lawrence and Travius Ford and Tyler Fraley that the Beavers were going to run all over the league and be the league leader in steals. Well, only one of those guys is still left, Travius Ford, and he's injured right now. Right. Not totally sure when he's going to be back, should be soon. You look at the stats, the Mammoths are far and away the fastest team on the base paths this year, so that kind of makes up for a little bit of the lack of power as compared to the Hoppers lineup.
Check the pitching comparison here today. Also, always brought to you by Ascension. It's Austin Shea for the Mammoths, Greg Lokinen on the other side as well for the Westside Woolly Mammoths. Two guys that maybe haven't reached their full potential this year, but there's still a lot of trust in them.
Yeah, for Lokinen, a slow start, and it's weird. You look at a lot of these guys. I think Carson Ferry, in hindsight, had a slow start compared to where he is now. Andrew Verbrugge certainly did. Austin Shea, Greg Lokinen, Eric Sanis, a lot of these guys haven't quite exploded to the starts that we kind of thought, and that's just kicking off the rust. It's a long off season. It's been a weird past couple years for some of these guys, but I think we're starting to settle into a groove now. And for Greg Lokinen, that curveball is really starting to work. It's looked very potent, and one of the pitches he leans on a lot in his last 2 starts. It's worked well. The velocity isn't quite there, and that's kind of why the curveball has become a bigger piece, and it's been really useful. It's been his put-away pitch for many batters, especially guys coming from the left side. Very hard for them to see. And for Austin Shea, he's trying to kind of redeem himself after the last 2 starts. 2 starts ago, got knocked around an inning and a third, just was absolutely not his day. Most recently, went for 5, had 4 really good innings, and then had a 45-pitch 5th inning. that really kind of rattled that Beavers team. They looked like they were in a good position to maybe steal a win in that game, and instead Shea went out for was inevitably one inning too many, and he should have been done after 4, and that 5th was just a little bit too much, and he got knocked around in that one. But yeah, these two guys, similar paths but a little bit different, and I think the thing that is fun about both of them is that we don't know. It's either going to be a really good day or a really bad day, and both of them have had in between, and that makes it exciting. You know, it's not Justin Verlander coming out and, okay, there's 7 innings for sure, and, you know, maybe only 3 or 4 hits, you know, back in the day. Is Lokenen's curveball going to be working? Is Shea going to locate the fastball well? Is he going to have his sequencing right? All of that stuff that we'll see in the first 1 or 2 innings will kind of set up the rest of the game, but we have no idea right now.
Take a look at your starting quarterbacks. No, the band is playing in the background, but let's take a look at the rest of your starting lineups here for today's game. First for the visiting Westside Woolly Mammoths, it's Connor Bagneski leading things off and playing left. Buddy Dueling bats in the 2-hole as he plays third base as well. Tanner Thomas off for a 268 start with 5 stolen bases thus far. He'll hit third and play center field tonight. Parker, Caruso, and Weinberger in the heart of that lineup. Some speed with Weinberger in 6 as well. Greg Vaughn Jr. will DH here today in bat 7. Duncan Hewitt once again back in this Mammoths uniform after being moved over to the Westside roster. Christian Perez will round things off and play shortstop here today as they face Austin Shea. As for the home Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers, it's Luke Fenley leading things off and playing second. Chris Davis looking for his first hit, still has a couple walks to his credit, both of them yesterday. He'll play left. Marcos Castillo bats third and plays center. J.D. Stubbs in the cleanup spot once again. He's 4 for 16 to begin his pro career. He'll be over at first base. Felix Abaret back with the league. We talked about that a little bit yesterday. He got a pinch hit appearance late in that game and some reps behind the plate. We'll see him get a start here today. Ryan Sullivan carrying his couple home runs. It was a big shot yesterday to left center. He'll bat 6 in DH here today. Eric Whitfield will be in the 7-hole and plays shortstop. Wellington Guzman Collette will round it out as they face Greg Lokenen here today. It's the Mammoths and Beavers and a fine day for baseball and a Fireworks Friday. That and more coming up next here on the USPBL Network. Stick with us.
How do these business owners find the time for peace of mind? Because they rely on Tryon to handle difficult and time-consuming HR tasks like payroll, benefits administration, and more. Working with Tryon, one of the nation's top professional employer organizations, provides access to top-tier health care and employee benefit plans and its team of attorneys and HR experts. With Tryon, you don't have to grow it alone. Visit RelyOnTryon.com.
You can always rely on Tryon.
Jeremy and Brendan back with you here from the ballpark. So glad you could tune in on what is turning out to be a really nice Friday evening for some baseball here today. We thank the following sponsors: Ascension, Belfour Property Restoration, Budweiser, DTE Energy, Fifth Third Bank, Jarpcom, Jimmy John's, Macomb Community College, McLaren Macomb, McQuaid Heating, Cooling, Plumbing, and Refrigeration. Metro Detroit Chevy Dealers. Pepsi. Scott's. And UWM. We thank all those fine partners for what they do for this league. Getting ready for the national anthem here today. The band trotting out. We had them play kind of behind us as we were shooting our pregame here today, so a little bit different. Reminds you of high school football. It's not really too far away when you think about it here in the state of Michigan.
No, these kind of weather days remind you a little bit of those really early, those first 2-3 weeks of high school football when it's still 70 plus, warm weather right before fall starts. The best time of the school year.
I feel like you can't win as well because those high school press boxes are never air conditioned.
No.
Sometimes heated with the portable heaters, but it's like you get 2 to 3 weeks of really hots, wanting some air, and then it levels off like perfectly, but then it just drops.
Yeah, and then we're playing in the snow and the sleet, and it's no fun by then. But yeah, those first 3 weeks are always nice.
Part of the reasons why they play indoors.
Yep.
No doubt. Well, we remind you can chime in with us on Facebook and YouTube. We already have some comments here today. Laura K. Lombardi-Chidsey says, go Woolly Mammoths. Matthew cheering for the Beavers here today, and JJ as well. Helen Rivas, also on Facebook, is cheering for the Mammoths. Tara asks, what time does the game start today? 7:05, usual kind of game start time on a weekday / non-Sunday. Tomorrow we'll have a doubleheader for you at 5:30. We'll be on the air at 5:15. 2 6-inning games. You saw the first one last week between a couple squads.
Yeah, that was the Hoppers and the Unicorns, two of the, as we said, kind of better teams in the league. They're up there in the top 2 right now. The Mammoths trying to fight their way there. But the Hoppers have really been the only team to compete with the Unicorns and hand them a loss. They handed them their one and only loss in a non-public this year. And them last weekend, they had 2 games. They had what the Beavers and Mammoths have this weekend. They had last weekend the Friday and Sunday games, both very good. Obviously, Ari Sakopoulos, the walk-off homer, and then a 7-5 win for the Unicorns on Sunday. But these two, the Beavers and the Mammoths, gave us plenty of excitement, at least in Game 1. Game 2 was a little bit slower. It was just a 1-0 game. The only run in that game came from the Mammoths. I believe it was in the top of the 5th, second to last inning. But Game 1 was very exciting. It was a 5-4 win, or a 5-5 sudden death win for the Beavers. We had a grand slam from Houston Parker, a 4-2-3-2 double play with the bases loaded to end it. There was some good pitching, some good offense. We had a little bit of everything. Hopefully we can have that tonight between these two as well.
Well, time for our keys to the game here today. Brendan, what do you think?
It's going to be starting pitching. As we talked about, these 2 starting pitchers have not been uber consistent, I think. And if one of them can go out there, I think it's really going to be who can go the deepest. If Lokinen or Shea can get into the 5th, maybe even past into 6th, is kind of what both of these managers are hoping for. Whichever team is able to do that is going to be in a really good position to win. If both pitchers end up doing that, it's going to come down to who's the best in the field and makes the least amount of mistakes.
It's the Beavers and the Mammoths coming at you next here in the USPBL Network. Stick with us.
Hey fans, Dr. Joe here with Michigan Orthopedic Surgeons. I'd like to tell you about some special fans we have in the audience tonight. Doctors who have come from across the world to visit us here in Southeast Michigan and take in a game at Jimmy John's Field. We'd like to welcome Dr. Peter Myers from Brisbane, Australia, Dr. Fab Ganakraj from Bangkok, Thailand, Dr. Erica Colleen from Jakarta, Indonesia, and Dr. William Blakeney from Perth, Australia. Let's give them all a warm welcome here at Jimmy John's Field.
Slide into a new home. Work with a local mortgage pro who works for you. Get a cheaper, faster, easier home loan. Find a mortgage broker near you today at findamortgagebroker.com.
You hear about the promo that Jimmy's John's got going on? 5 off 20? How they pulling it off? Magic? You got David's Copperfields in there? Show yourself, Copperfields!
Jimmy John's. $5 off orders of 20 or more.
It's almost time for baseball here today. The heat, really the sun, making it feel maybe a little bit warmer than it was. That's the best I can explain it for you. It's not the biggest temperature day that we have, although it is 89 degrees at game time, so maybe it is a little warmer than I thought. But 89 today, 90 tomorrow, and then 87 on Sunday before we get a bit of a break next week. But this is kind of what it is right now, it seems, here in late June in Michigan.
So what you're telling me is it's perfect for baseball, huh?
Yes, perfect. It always kind of feels like it's chilly by the time the sun goes down, just based off how sunny and hot it gets during the day these days.
I think it's a little bit of overcompensation, type thing. Feels, 75 feels a lot colder when you've been sitting in high 80s all day.
Here's a look at Austin Shea. Brings a fastball, changeup, and slurve to the equation. The 6'5", 230-pound righty out of Cummings, Georgia. 6.87 ERA coming into play today through 5 appearances, all of them being starts. Both of these guys really looking to limit the walks here today. Shea is nearly dead even. Walks to strikeouts, 21 to 23.
Yeah, and that equates to 10.3 walks per 9. Certainly, that's kind of over double really where you want to be. Most pitchers like to hang around 5 or 4. The best will get sub 4. And for Lokinen, too, 6.4 walks per 9, obviously a little bit lower, but only 8.3 strikeouts per 9. So those both have to kind of go opposite directions if he wants to, like you said, limit the walks, limit the base runners, and thus limiting the earned runs.
Be Connor Bagneski, Buddy Dwayne, Tanner Thomas. Your 3 due up here in the first inning. Connor Bagneski, we talked about it just a little bit in the pregame show, returning to the USPBL this year after spending some time in the American Association. One of the better independents out there.
Played for the Lake Country Dockhounds. Only a couple games with them, 9, but always a good thing to get to a good league like that.
For his pitch at 88, fastball away at 7:04 p.m. here tonight.
Having some early starts. 7:04 today, 7:03 yesterday.
1-0 outside, 2-0 to Bagneski. 1 for 8, but does have 3 walks compared to just 1 strikeout, and that's something he did very well last year in what was nearly a full season for the Beavers. 2-0, chopped here to Stubbs, ate him up. circles into right field, and Bagneski reaches to begin this first.
Yeah, that's no stranger to the USPBL plays like that. That's not an issue for Stubbs. I don't necessarily think that's an error. The ball's just, it's not a super even infield grass or dirt, and we've seen some weird bounces and chops and last-minute decisions. Wow, they did give him an error. Some last-minute decisions from these baseballs that have made it difficult. I guess that's a relatively routine play, but by no means a soft chop.
Little soft serve into right. What a run by Whitfield, and can't collect himself in time to chuck to first. But Eric Whitfield snatches what could have been another bloop hit.
Yeah, that was a nice play by him. I don't know if he saw Bagneski, the runner, at first. If he was able to gather himself half a second sooner, he probably could have fired a rocket to first to Stubbs and maybe gotten a double play. Bagneski did a good job. I thought off the bat that was for sure going to drop, so Bagneski was almost halfway to second base before he realized he might have to retreat.
Strike one called, and with all the sunshine we've seen, it feels like almost the whole season. I mean, we're talking 3 or so weeks in a row to begin games. The shadows also playing a fairly large factor. We saw it a few times last night. I think that Ryan Sullivan at-bat sticks out.
Yep.
Just wasn't seeing it very well, and you said it on the air. You know, the fourth or fifth fastball he saw in a 3-2 count, he didn't miss it. Hit it over the left center field wall as we check defense, brought to you by Three Dimensional Services behind Shea today. It's Davis in left, Castillo in center, Whitfield we know in right, Stubbs and Collette on the corners, Fenley and Guzman looking for the double play here, and Abaret behind the plate.
But yeah, we haven't had hardly, I think, 1 or 2 games where it hasn't been sunny skies. The day games primarily, too, have all been very sunny. We had 1 rain delay. We still were able to play that day. And, yeah, it adds an extra element to the game, particularly on a play like that last little flare to Whitfield.
1-2, line drive to center. Over the head of Castillo in the end. To third base goes Bagneski. He will stop there. Maybe got a late break because of it hanging up there so fast. And just the read that Castillo got on it, he thought, maybe that wasn't as far over his head as it actually was.
The surprising thing, we often see fielders in this park play relatively deep. And Castillo was in on the 3-hole hitter, Tanner Thomas, who hasn't showed a ton of power, raw power, but I don't know. It seemed a little too in for my liking, and that one gets hit over his head on a play that I think he probably should have made out there. It was hard hit. Nice job by Thomas. Squared it up well and put it on a line. I really like the decision from Jellikowski to hold Bagneski. I don't think he got quite a jump, too, but he had some speed. He was the aggressive base runner in the sudden death loss for the Mammoths, who came home from second base on that 4-2-3-2 double play and was the last out. But he would have been probably dead to rights as Guzman was with the ball on the cutoff as Bagneski was rounding third.
So Castillo plays a bit deeper now with this righty that has pop. Houston Parker goes with the shades here in the first inning off the end of the bat. Fastball's been right around 89 so far here today for Shea. Been up to 91 with above average spin for this league on it. First inning brought to you by Ascension. We thank Ascension for their partnership here with the USPBL. 2 in scoring position with just 1 down. Now the 1-2. Overthrew the fastball, his best velo-wise of the night, 2-2.
Shea really needs a strikeout here. First 3 batters have all put barrels on the balls. He needs to get a swing and a miss.
Now the even pitch here. Fly ball to right. Whitfield chasing that one back, still tailing to the fence. It's 2 hops up against the wall. Bagneski scores easily. Thomas right behind him. And Houston Parker checks in with his second double. Driving in 2 here in the first.
Houston Parker's on a roll. That one looked like it had home run distance with maybe a little bit more wind. Carried well. Always tough to see with that clear fence back there in right field, but just good 2-strike hitting and a 2-2 count. Got an elevated pitch that he liked. Let it travel into the zone, get deep, take it the opposite way. Easily scores those 2 runs because of that.
Here's Nick Caruso. Still looking for some balls to fall for him here as the slurve ends up on the outside corner. We don't have access to batting average and balls in play yet, but he's a guy that I'd be willing to bet it's lower than lower than the norm, and that usually irons itself out.
Yeah.
1-0, fastball in for strike one.
Him and his opponent out there in left today, Davis. And obviously Davis hasn't been here as long as Caruso, but you look at Caruso's numbers, hitting 182 through 11 games right now. I'd like to see his barrel percent. He puts so many good swings on baseballs and hits them hard. I'm curious what his average exit velo is. He doesn't quite have the launch angle on a lot of those swings, and they're just right to some of these outfielders, barely having to move.
Now the 1-2 on Caruso leans it outside. Yeah, especially for a guy that hits line drives. That generally works out for you.
Yeah, usually does kind of, like you said, flatten itself out.
Runner on second, 2 runs in, just 1 out here in the top of the first. 2-2 in there for strike 3. Caruso set down, doesn't love the call. He'll look for that same from his pitcher the next half. And a little extra barking. His manager might have to come get him here.
I think Caruso, kind of as a catcher, a little bit curious about that pitch. I don't think that was necessarily barking, more so looking for an explanation as he, it's a long walk back to the dugout. You don't got time to stand at the plate and get your explanation. You got to get back there so the next guy can get up. Thought that pitch was a little high. Yeah, I think it's got the right elevation. I think Caruso is actually looking for it to be more outside. I think it was. Nonetheless, out number 2.
Fastball high, and sometimes it's not necessarily the strike zone tonight, but maybe something they've seen before, because there's not a whole lot of umpires that call games here. So maybe Caruso's, knowing his strike zone specifically. It's funny, obviously not here, but we don't even have analytics on umpires these days.
Oh, there's plenty
at the major league level. You have that one site we were talking about it the other day, and one Twitter site that.
Yeah, it's Rate My Ump or something like that. Yeah.
1-1, the slurve that Shea really wanted on the outside corner. 2-1 now on Wade Weinberger.
And those are deep dives into how good these umpires are. The one thing I really like about that one is sometimes umpires will have like 98%, but they'll miss 1 or 2, and whoever makes it will look at those 2 specific pitches and kind of see how they change the game. Sometimes it'll say like big missed calls or something, and it'll say, well, this was a walk to this guy, which then the next home run was a 2-run home run, and this team won by 1 run, so that walk kind of changed the game, so that's pretty interesting stuff. It's really fun to take a look at.
Swing and a miss. Weinberger chases that one on the outside edge. And after 2 doubles, played a couple runs here in the first, Austin Shea comes back and strikes the last 2 he faces here, 5 and 6 in the lineup. Down to Kara now on the field.
Thanks, Johnny. I'm here with JJ today, our field general, who's just rocking his Michigan First Credit Union vest. And he found a very special fan in the stands today. He found Angie, and thanks to Thrifty Florist, he was able to give her this beautiful bouquet. Now, it's Angie's special day as our sweetheart of the game, but it's her husband Tom's birthday game today. So if you see them around, wish Angie a congratulations on sweetheart of the game and Tom a very happy birthday. Back to you, Johnny.
Thank you, Kira. Tossing it back to the public address announcer here at the ballpark, Johnny Grab. Well, let's take a look at your Freaky Fast Facts here today as well. Number one is a snail can have 25,000 teeth.
Snails are not big enough for that. There's no room.
They can also be a pest in your fish tank. Don't do it. For 20 years, a cat served as mayor of an Alaskan town.
Better judgment than some of our political leaders.
The Empire State Building has its own zip code. Well, there you go.
Really? Why is that?
I don't know.
It's not like a very large building, like geographically.
Right. Well,
our director, PJ, a New York native, says it's because of how many businesses are in there. I guess that makes sense. Business addresses and stuff.
Here's Greg Lokinen. Second part of your pitcher comparison brought to you by Ascension. Brings a four-seam, a two-seam, a changeup, and a knuckle curve into action here today. 1.99 ERA with 16 walks to 21 strikeouts as well.
Yeah, we talked about the strikeouts and walks, but it's the good thing is you can see that he gets out of jams with the 16 walks. Still a sub-2 ERA in over 20 innings worked. I think 22 and two-thirds is either the most or second most of any pitcher in the league right now for Lokinen. So to go that far, still have 6.4 walks per nine and a sub-2 ERA just shows you that he doesn't get too worried when there's base runners on. He's able to get out of jams and keep innings going for his team to get a lead.
Buddy Dwayne with a quick word for Lokinen delivers here. The Shadows starting to inch a bit closer to the mound. Nice productive inning for the Mammoths offensively. Could have been worse, though. They had a runner on second base with just one out after cashing in two. And a first pitch fastball to Luke Fenley is called strike one. Lokinen likes to work quick, the 0-1. Rifled foul, heading on top of one of the umbrellas to the left of the bullpen down there.
That's one that'll scare you as a pitcher. That one hooked foul started down the line, pretty hard hit.
And so for the record, it's at ump scorecards or umpire scorecards, all put together on Twitter there. We were talking about the last half inning. Now the 1-2. Breaking ball away. And it has, they follow one person, but it has 260,000 followers, so it's a pretty followed account. 2-2 dives out at that one on the outside corner. Nick back to the screen.
Yeah, that's typically more for the baseball nerds of the nation, but it's fun to look at, you know.
And people erupt, obviously, when they have a certain feeling on what happened.
Right.
Like, oh, yeah, here you go.
Here's the proof that he was bad.
But for the most part, I mean, you're scrolling down. I mean, 90% accuracy,
Yeah.
94% accuracy, 95, 94, 92, 97. That's all in a row. I mean, from last night. 3-2. Maybe nicked it into the glove. Nonetheless, a leadoff strikeout here for Lokinen.
Yeah, good strikeout there for Lokinen in the 3-2 count, but I'm curious. A common thing we see in MLB stats is, oh, well, this guy's hitting 250. Okay, well, what does that mean? Well, the league average is 200. Okay, so he's above average. I wonder what the league average for a lot of those stats that come with the umpires are, you know, because they give a plus-minus for, like, runs for another team. I wonder what the league average of, like, overall accuracy percent, because like you said, there's a lot of 90s. It seems around 94. You know, I wonder how many guys are above league average, below, you know. We might be dipping into that pool of, like, that might be future stats we look at.
Chris Davis checks his swing there, 2-0.
I remember last year for Michigan State basketball, Ken Pomeroy's website, kenpom.com, is one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
And he gives referees rankings, too.
Does he really?
Yeah, he ranks referees all throughout the country. And we would go on and check their rankings based on who was reffing each game. And see, this guy's, Michigan State got Bo Borowski. Not going to be a good day. Bo Borowski is obviously the least fan favorite of Big Ten basketball referees.
Davis not happy about that strike. Knuckling in for a full count all of a sudden here in the first inning. Now the 3-2. Whittled back. Loken in. No, it's Caruso who takes it. Snuck into right field. Davis with a chance to get to second base. Sliding in safely.
Nice job by Davis. You could see as soon as he made contact with that ball, he was barreling out of the batter's box, wants to get on base so badly, and did so there. We forced Caruso to make a quick throw, which led to an errant throw and now 2 bases.
Check the defense here behind Loken and brought to you by Three Dimensional Services Group. It's Bagneski in left, Tanner Thomas in center, Wade Weinberger in right. Dwayne and Hewitt on the corners. Parker and Perez up the middle with Caruso behind the dish here today. They gave him a hit on the board, so that's the first professional hit for Chris Davis.
Any way you can get it.
Dad in attendance here today as Marcos Castillo backs out of the way of it. Brought the good knuckle curve to the park here today. Hitters not timing it up well early on here.
It's been really good lately. A lot of tight spin on that. That's something he's worked on, really focusing on pulling that seam to the back corner of the plate, which gets that nice revolutions on the ball.
Popped it up. Look out, everybody below. They're all raising their heads out of our view of Caruso as well. Did you see it? I couldn't see it at all.
Young fan, probably 7 or 8 years old, was able to get that one. That always makes the people happy. Good crowd today. Friday night. Always good night to take in a ball game at a fair price.
Some of the patio spaces are full as well on the first and third base line. So hard to get a true indication sometimes of how many people are actually at the park. 1-2, curveball inside.
Those are my favorite places to take in a game, is those patio spots here at Jimmy John's.
Cabana Suite's pretty cool as well.
Yep.
Cool in a number of ways. There's the lawn. Bring the blankets, the umbrellas, the hats. 2-2. Popped him up. Hewitt and Parker. It's Parker for the second out. Now, J.D. Stubbs, the last shot here in the first inning. Lokinen struck out the first batter he saw, and Davis able to single down the first base line. I'm going to call it a single and an error.
I think that's they didn't put that up on the board. I think that's a good way to put it. I don't know. Maybe they don't want to call it an error because Davis might have been safe even if the throw was in time. But he doesn't get the second if the throw is in time and on target. I'll go with you, Jeremy. I'm going to put E2 down.
Stubbs 4 for 16. 2 walks to 3 strikeouts, 1-0. 86-mile-an-hour fastball in for strike one.
JD was sitting down there by the suites pregame before the doors opened as you and I were talking to assistant coach Josh Hines for the Beavers. And Hines was he looked at JD, who was not in the conversation with us, just sitting nearby a couple feet away, and he just started laughing And I said, what's so funny? He said, he looks so angry all the time, but he's one of the nicest people you'll meet. And he really is. We had a good conversation with him when he first got to the field, has the most firm handshake of anybody in the league. And he does have such a mean mug, but he is not always like that.
Filthy pitch, the changeup gets Stubbs swinging through it. And the second K here in the first inning gets out of it and strands that runner on second base as well. Still 2-0 on the USPBL network.
I'm all in with HR and Organizational Development Council.
I'm all in with Marketing and Business Development Council.
I'm all in with Operations and Member Experience Council.
I'm all in with CEO Council.
I'm all in with Lending Council.
I'm all in with CFO Council.
I'm all in with Technology Council.
Our credit union is all in with CUNA Councils.
They call me Prospects. Since the day I was born as a diver's watch, the challengers of the world have taught me many things. Life is not a numbers game. It's about challenging ourselves. No matter what happens, just follow your heart. These pioneers drive our generation forward, not by setting records, but by never giving up. Keep going forward. Prospects.
Available at Lucido Fine Jewelry.
Seven, 8, 9 due up for the Mammoths here in the second inning. It's Greg Vaughn Jr., Duncan Hewitt, and Christian Perez. Productive first inning, but it could have been worse.
Yeah, I mean, they got two, as you said, had that runner on second with only one out, and Shea was able to battle back, get back-to-back strikeouts, a looking and a swinging to end the inning. Kind of what you need from him. Hopefully that sparks a fire for him to, you know, kind of live off and get through 4 or 5 more innings in this game. Like we said, didn't start well. A lot of barrels on some of those balls. But followed it up with 2 Ks.
Second inning brought to you by Budweiser. We thank Budweiser for their partnership here at the USPBL. There's Greg Vaughn Jr., 212 average through just about 30 at-bats. First pitch swinging. Fastball knocked out of play.
On the DH today for the Mammoths. Typically has been a DH this entire year. Allowed him to focus on hitting. That's where you see a good 669 OPS. 5 RBIs. Does have a dinger too. Usually does play in the outfield when he does get fielded in the lineup.
1-1. Fastball with some movement in on the hands. 1-2 on Vaughn Jr. now. Room up the middle against this right-hander. Collette is nearly pinned to the third base line. Stubbs off it at first. 1-2. Good smother here by Auberet. And we obviously knew this from his body of work last year, but not only did he play defensively very strongly, swung the bat very well, but even in this game, he's made some nice blocks, critical ones.
Yeah, they know he's going to catch this year. He's probably going to be their starting catcher.
Quietly, Brendan, that's now 3 straight Ks for Shea as well.
Like we said, see if he can kind of feed off of those back-to-back to get out of the inning in a one-out jam. Seems like he's done it so far. But yeah, going back to Auberet, they know he's going to catch and be a good catcher, and that's what the Beavers have just been looking for so much this year. They thought they found it with Wannenberg before he retired after his injury. They thought he was going to hit as well. So at this point, they just want somebody who's going to be a good catcher defensively, and if they can hit, they can hit. And we think, if the last 2 years are any indication, or I guess the last 2 seasons, Abarette's going to be able to do that.
Now the 1-0. Fastball outside, 2-0 on Duncan Hewitt playing first base here today. Mostly caught with the Unicorns.
Talked to him last week. Has no problem playing first base. Played a lot on third when he was younger, as you could expect from a catcher. Has always had a stronger arm than kids his age. He called it a cannon, and it certainly is. We've seen it a few times this year already. So he doesn't mind playing in the field when he needs to. He does love that catcher spot, though.
Popped it way up. Fenley staring straight into the sun for the second out.
Good composure by Fenley. Not to get too worried there. When that ball goes up into the sun, you can kind of freak out a little bit if you don't see it, but just keep looking. Wait for it to come back into your eyes naturally.
Here's Christian Perez now. Shortstop for 5 seasons at UNOH. University of Northwestern Ohio, and the whack is a changeup. Maybe just a bit low there, 1-0.
Yeah, just a bit. It was a pretty good pitch. Perez is someone I like, though. He looks like he's going to be a really good ball player. We'll see what he can do at the plate, but defensively, he looks sound at short for the Mammoths already.
Shot to first through the 5-hole. And Perez gets aboard with 2 outs. Snaps the 4 straight out streak.
Yeah, that's just unfortunate for Stubbs. Got to put that glove all the way on the ground and let the ball into your glove. You can't try to adjust on the hop and bring it up. I think that's what he kind of did. That ball was rising on a hop as it got to him, and he wanted to bring that glove up a little bit. You leave that glove on the ground, worst case scenario, it kind of hits your wrist and doesn't quite hit the glove, but it's in front of you and you stop it. But when you lift that glove, that kind of can happen. It could sneak under or around, get out into right field.
0-1 on Bagnaski. Had a single back in the first, came around to score. Quick slide step move there. Fastball in the hands and whittled back. So I think these are the moments that they're looking for Shea to really step up in. You've retired 4 in a row, the first 2 batters of this inning. Can you reel it right back in and get out of it right here within the next couple batters? The 0-2.
And a part of that, too, is picking up your fielders. And, Stubbs, that's his second error in the game already. First error came around to score. It was Bagneski, the leadoff batter. 4 straight outs, and then the next error would have been 5. Can you pick up your fielders and not let that rattle you too much?
Wipeout Slurve will end the inning. He struck out 4 through 2 here on the USPBL Network. 2-0 Mammoths.
Every summer, my family loves to have a neighborhood movie night in our backyard. And with my Chevy Blazer, I can head out and get everything we need for a great night. It has plenty of room for picking up friends, and the available hands-free liftgate is perfect for loading unhandy supplies. It may be movie night, but my Blazer is the main attraction wherever I go.
Lease a 2022 Blazer 2LT for just $239 a month for 24 months. Put it in D and see why Chevy drives the Motor City.
Make your move with a quick and easy mortgage from Genesis Credit Union. We have mortgages to fit your life. Genesis Credit Union. Visit us today.
Slide into a new home. Work with a local mortgage pro who works for you. Get a cheaper, faster, easier home loan. Find a mortgage broker near you today at findamortgagebroker.com.
Jimmy John's Field is the perfect venue for birthday parties, summer picnics, company outings, and provides the best entertainment in Metro Detroit with great baseball all summer long. Spend your summer nights under the lights at Jimmy John's Field in historic downtown Utica.
Barrett, Sullivan, and Whitfield. Your three men due up here in the second inning. Lokinen with a pair of strikeouts himself in the first, had that single plus the error which allowed Davis to reach to second, but other than that just faced four batters. Both of these pitchers looking to remain strong here today.
So we made the executive decision ourselves it was an error. Looking at the board now, the Mammoths do have one. It must have been that one from Caruso, so they changed their mind.
First pitch, curveball inside. It's a knuckle curve for Lokinen, which has kind of ranged anywhere between 70 and 75 this year.
And you can just tell he has so much more swagger when he gets that thing going. He looks so much more comfortable on the mound. And today, through an inning, has kind of been one of those days where it just looks good and he looks comfortable. There you go.
It looked like the curve, but a bit harder, huh? 78, which probably would be his season high on it. But it looked like it had way too much break to it for the changeup.
I was going to say that could he have gotten the changeup to move like that? Maybe.
He did it again there. Maybe it was a change.
Either way, it looks good and it's working. I guess, it doesn't really matter which it is.
Sprawling out, Hewitt at first.
Catch.
One up and one down here in the second. We've had some nice defensive plays thus far in this game. And that's something I think maybe got tightened up a little bit with some of the moves that we saw, the cuts and the incomers from the showcase. The defense has been decently solid since.
It's kind of been what you would expect, it feels like. It's not going to be perfect baseball, but it's not super ugly, and guys aren't making too many mistakes. And a lot of the errors we've had that we've talked about have been kind of borderline, it feels like. We've talked, is that going to be an error? Maybe not. Well, this happened and this happened, so that's usually a good thing.
0-1, line drive to center, sinking. Thomas cuts it off right away for the second out.
It's good to see Ryan Sullivan start to pick up some baseballs, though. Barreled that one. Obviously, the home run yesterday. It was starting to. Maybe it was just a slump to start the year. Obviously, he has to prove himself moving forward a little bit more. But we were getting to the territory after a couple games where it was, is this a slump or is this who Ryan Sullivan is? And it seems like he's on the track to turn it around and kind of change the minds of some people around the league.
First pitch to Whitfield, changeup in on the hands. You hear about the size so much when they talk about Ryan Sullivan and the projectability just based off that.
6'5", 250.
0-1, just skirting foul there.
I mean, naturally, if you're that big, there's a lot of potential if you can find it or if someone can teach it to you and you can implement it in your game and kind of get it worked out. There's a lot of room for growth.
Whitfield with a nice play himself defensively in right back in the first. Ball that was quickly sinking. Not all that hard hit, but he had a great read on it. Slid and made the catch. Had maybe a sliver of a chance to get a double play. Didn't end up throwing it to first. What an inning, though, for Greg Lokinen. Kind of overpowers 5, 6, 7 in the lineup. Good changeup, good curveball, and a good fastball to end it. His third K here tonight.
Companies are competing for talent like never before. With the complexities of handling tasks like payroll, benefits administration, and other HR functions, it's easy to see how a professional employer organization like Tryon Solutions makes all the difference. Tryon empowers businesses of all sizes to attract and retain talent by offering access to top-tier healthcare and employee benefit plans. With Tryon, you don't have to grow it alone. Visit RelyOnTryon.com.
You can always rely on Tryon.
We joined Green Path and instantly felt a support around us.
They developed a plan on paper, and this is how we're going to do it.
The plan that they gave me was something that was sustainable. It was something I could do. It was actually lowering my payments monthly by hundreds of dollars.
Choosing Green Path is a no-brainer.
To the top of the third we go. Buddy Dueling, Tanner Thomas, Houston Parker due up against Austin Shea. Well, this group right here, a big reason why the Mammoths are up 2-0. Back-to-back doubles by Thomas and Caruso. Could we have another one here or more? Dueling sees it bang off the light tower.
Well, it was only a matter of time for Buddy Dueling, one of those guys that we've talked about in the league. We see the power. We know it's there. You can just look at his build. And sure enough, he shows it. I think that's the definition, Jeremy, of light tower power.
First professional home run for Buddy Dueling. His 5th RBI this year. Hit one hard the first time around as well, and gets more credit there.
Dueling was one of the first people to make an impression on me in the USPBL. My first day here was the first day of spring training, and players were just kind of taking batting practice, and he was one of the first to step up there. I just said, man, this guy's big. He just looks like a hard hitter, and sure enough, you put one right on the Chevy logo on the Chevy Pavilion in his first swing of the bat. I was surprised it took us so long to see one get out in a game for him, but that's got to be a good feeling. You can see it there.
Thomas looks at strike one. 3 runs off 3 hits and an error. All 3 of those hits extra bases for the Mammoths. Off the end of the bat, fastball at 88. Shea has struck out 4. He was on his way to a perfect second inning, which could have been 5 straight, retired before the error. Bounced right back and struck out Connor Bagneski, the top of the order. Slurve that got away, 2-2 on Thomas.
Yeah, it looked like Shea was ready to bounce back after the rough start with the error and the double from Thomas. And maybe he still is. Might have just been one mistake pitch to Dueling.
1 down here in the third. Now Houston Parker, we had one of those doubles in the first inning. Drove in 2. That lead now extended to 3-0 in the top of the third. Third inning brought to you by Chevrolet here today. We thank Chevrolet for their partnership with the USPBL. First pitch to Parker. Good slurve, tipped into the glove of Abaret there.
I like that pitch a lot. It's got some good tunnel action. Most guys are expecting a first pitch fastball from Shea, bottom of the zone, and then that slurve just dips out of there.
something that Shea has talked about so far this year. There's been certain games where he doesn't feel like the hitters are swinging at the slurve, so he's abandoned it at times. But for a guy with just 3 pitches and mostly fastball slurve, you'd like it to be working for him. 0-2, trying to bury it again. Did he go? Says the appeal. Caruso on deck, then Wade Weinberger. They both struck out at the end of the first. Here's the 1-2 off the high leg kick. Just misses. You can see Shea with that exact reaction. I can count 3 or 4 times already, and all of them would have been for called third strikes.
Yeah, I'm not totally sure where that pitch misses.
Comes right back, a little bit more outside. Fastball at 89, and that's also something that Shea talked about kind of heading into this year. Last year was a very short stint with the USPBL. Also played with Joliet in the Frontier League, where he had a 5.58 ERA through 11 appearances. But just thought he was overthinking it a little bit too much here in the USPBL. Want to settle that down and just kind of use his stuff to his advantage.
That's one of the biggest things in baseball for any player of any position is you have to make the game easier for yourself. And you do that by making it simple. And you can't overthink. You can't have too many. We know baseball players are superstitious, but there's got to be a little bit of a limit there. And you just have to make your life easier and slow everything down. Less complication.
Chopped up the middle there. Guzman feeds across the diamond. Now there's 2 outs after the leadoff home run.
Shea does a good job battling in that at bat after he got what we thought should have been a called third strike. He thought it as well. Didn't give Parker anything meaty to hit. Gave him a fastball in the bottom of the zone. Induced a ground ball. Was a nice response after not getting the call he wanted.
Nick Caruso struck out looking back in the first. First pitch slurve that will stay fair as Collette makes sure to hop on it. Strong throw to first and a nice stretch by Stubbs. And how about Shea? A couple adversity points in this game. He's really answered the bell each time. As that's your fifth third outs of this ball game here in the 3rd inning. Time to go down to the field now. JJ the Water Boy, presented by Michigan First Credit Union here today. Told you about the sun here today. He's going to appreciate this water coming from behind. Maybe he doesn't realize it's coming, though. And out of Kiro we go on the field.
All right, fans, it's the moment you have all actually been waiting for. It is the DTE Kid versus the Mascot race. I am here with Lucy today, who's been coming to games since she was 4 years old, so she's been waiting for this moment. All right, I'm going to count you guys down, okay? 3, 2, 1, go! Go, go, go! Oh, Buzz gets a late start. Lucy's rounding the bases. Here she goes. She's going 3. Keep going. She's rounding 3. Buzz is super far behind. Here she comes. And she scores. Lucy wins. Good job, Lucy. Back to you, Johnny.
Your DTE Energy Kid Race, the mascot here today. I want to talk about it again, though, just kind of recapping what we've seen from Austin Shea here today. The extra base hits have obviously been a problem. He's had 3 hits given up, all of them for extra bases, 2 doubles kind of to the warning track, and then a leadoff home run in the 3rd. But what stands out in the first, you have 2 runs in, another runner on second base after the 2 RBI double by Houston Parker. He then K'd 2 pretty good hitters in Caruso and Weinberger. Then 7, 8, 9 to begin the second, retires the first 2, gives up a tough base runner off the air down at first, but then struck out his next man in Connor Bagnesti. That's his 4th K here tonight. Then the leadoff home run on a line off the light tower in left center field off the bat of Buddy Duane. And then 3 straight ground balls. And he also faced a couple calls which he was not a fan of, and one of them being what could have been a called third strike if it was yanked upon. But anyway, I think that's a good building block here for Austin Shea here today.
Yeah, and it's funny that we were kind of talking about that as a part of Greg Lokinen's character before this game started, that he's been able to battle back and get out of some jams. But it's really good to see from Austin Shea because he's been in some tough situations before, and I don't want to say caved, but maybe wasn't able to get out of them. We talked about the last 2 starts where he didn't finish his 5th inning most recently, and then in the one before that, only an inning and a third. I believe had 6 walks in those inning and a third. So it's really nice to see him battle back and have some good at-bats after giving up a few.
And you talked about Perez earlier. That's a sign of a, not an incredibly tough play, but not an easy one either. It made it look easy.
Yeah, was able to get his feet in a good position, shift under it.
He's just a bigger shortstop in terms of height as well than you normally see.
Well, now we're seeing that the Pirates guy, I'm blanking on his name, O'Neill something? O'Neill Cruz is 6'7", I think.
Is he really?
Yeah, he fired I don't know if you saw, a 96-mile-an-hour dart over to first base. I think it was in his first or third inning in the majors.
Really?
96 miles an hour across the diamond, the fastest throw across the diamond from any fielder this year.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know they consistently kept that stat. Interesting.
Yeah, it's not. I don't think it's a stat they lean too much on. Just kind of a curiosity, fun little stat. It's good news if you ever need a position player to pitch for the Pirates. You can get some guy to go out there and throw mid-70s, low 80s maybe.
2-1 swing and miss. Yeah, you're right. 6'7", 220. Right-handed shortstop, bats left-handed for Pittsburgh. Couple of games last year, just 4 so far this year, so it hasn't been around maybe much since opening day. Is Collette down swinging? That's strikeout number 4 for Lokinen as well.
And I'm just surprised that he's a shortstop. I mean, I don't know the full story on why he's there, and I'm not a huge Pirates guy, but typically guys that big have been that big most of their life, and by the time they get to affiliate ball or maybe independent or high-level college, coaches say, stop messing around. You're going to play first right now.
Little flare, and Hewitt is there to collect what is a 1-2-3 inning here for Greg Loken, and he's not allowed any base runners since the single plus the error back in the first. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in a row.
Why are all these business owners smiling? Because they rely on Tryon to handle difficult and time-consuming HR tasks like payroll, benefits administration, and more. Working with one of the nation's top professional employer organizations provides access to top-tier healthcare and employee benefit plans and Tryon's team of attorneys and HR experts. With Tryon, you don't have to grow it alone. Visit RelyOnTryon.com.
You can always rely on Tryon.
We joined Green Path and instantly felt a support around us.
They developed a plan on paper, and this is how we're going to do it.
The plan that they gave me was something that was sustainable. It was something I could do. It was actually lowering my payments monthly by hundreds of dollars.
Choosing Green Path is a no-brainer.
Get great seats, safer, simpler, and smarter with TicketSmarter. Choose great seats from over 125,000 live events, all backed with a TicketSmarter 100% ticket guarantee. Get your tickets smarter at TicketSmarter.com.
There's Austin Shea, as we've talked about. Responded well to some adversity, but his team faces a 3-0 deficit as we get started in the top of the fourth here from Jimmy John's Field in downtown Utica. He'll face Weinberger Jr., Vaughn Jr., and Duncan Hewitt, 6, 7, 8 hitters to start things off in the top of the fourth. Shea's looking to get some run support on the other side of this inning. First pitch to Weinberger's outside for ball 1. Weinberger has done really good this year. Almost 300 average coming into today's game, 290. OPS above 870, has a home run, 4 RBIs as well. Good discipline at the plate, too. 7 walks and 7 Ks. Ball and a strike inside, almost clips the feet, but doesn't. Ball 2. Two one is fouled back to the screen. Fastball at 87 from Shea. Righty-lefty matchup. Weinberger has looked good against right-handed hitters this year. This one looks good again. Out to right. A little too much air under it, and Whitfield easily puts that one into the glove for out number 1. Brings up Vaughn Jr., struck out in the second, 1 of 4 tonight for Austin Shea. 2 errors already for the Beavers, both coming from J.D. Stubbs on some chopping ground balls over there at first. First pitch, big cut from Vaughn, and he misses. And that one gets by Aberrett for the first ball to Vaughn Jr. Greg Vaughn Jr., the son of MLB legend Greg Vaughn, native of Sacramento, California, 25 years old, has played the last 2 years here at the USPBL. He's going on year 3 this year. That one misses for ball 2. In the last 2 years, he's done a really good job. Has an average of 247. 5 home runs, 20 RBIs, more walks than strikeouts as well. Fouls that one away to the right side, evens the count at 2 apiece. Just a quality hitter. Nothing about Vaughn Jr. is going to jump off the page, the power or the average or the on-base percentage, but he is just consistently good. And as a bat that Taylor Jellikowski and the Mammoths know they need to leave in the lineup. He's the DH today, fouls this one back again, has the fastball timed up. Just needs to square it up. Back-to-back foul balls. Checking out the crowd on Friday night. It's a good one. Not a bad seat in the house here at Jimmy John's Field. Slurve misses inside. Count is full on Vaughn. And the payoff pitch. This one's out to right again. Whitfield goes back a little bit to the left. Now it's to charge in. Whitfield, one of the few guys who looks directly into the sun from his position out there in right field, but that's the 3rd time he's had to make a play today. 2nd time this inning. The first one was that nice play back in the 1st inning where he had to charge and snatch a bloop single from Buddy Dwayne Jr. 2 up and 2 down for Shea.
Is wearing shades out there, but still in full squint mode right now.
Yeah. The shadows not quite playing a factor yet. Hewitt, first pitch, gets through the gap in the infield on the left side for a 2-out single. Sprawling was Collette, unable to make the play. But yeah, sometimes we've seen the shadows play more of a factor earlier in the games for 7 o'clock games. Right now, the light tower and kind of long beam statues are the only ones near the plate, and that's right where they are, right near home plate. You can see on the pitcher's mound towards home. Not too much of a factor right now for the hitter's eye. Inside, called strike to Perez.
Kind of checking where that is. Shay's slides that pretty quick. One of the quicker ones in the league, I feel like.
That one's in the opposite batter's box. Aberrett does a nice job to get in front of it with Hewitt, the runner, on first.
So here's another one of those moments. You retire the first 2 in the inning, give up another single. What can you do here to the 9-hole hitter?
That one misses under the zone, 2-1. Perez this year 2 for 10 before today's game. Reached on an error back in the second. Has only played in 3 so far as a Mammoth, a showcase guy. Way inside on the hands, 3-1 and a good hitter's count to the newbie. As we mentioned, Perez from northwestern Ohio, native of Poncha, Puerto Rico, was the translator for yesterday's player of the game of the Hoppers, Yadi Rivera. He had a grand slam. The 3-1 evens up or fulls the count. Does Shea at 3-2. Two down, the payoff pitch. Hewitt, the runner, going, and Shea couldn't come up with it, and kind of a sigh of exhaustion after that pitch. Bends down towards the knees, and the inning continues for the Mammoths, now at the top of the order with Connor Bagneski.
Kind of goal number 1 for Shea, limit those walks. We saw 6 of them last time around on Saturday, his last start. His first here today.
Yep. That's a good sign, though. Get through 3 2/3 before giving up your first walk. Certainly well improved over the last 2 starts. Now Bagneski inside. Seems like Shea's just kind of nibbling right now. And that might be for good reason. He has tried to attack hitters, and it's led to balls meeting barrels for the top of this Mammoth order.
Just at 72 as well. Nobody warming up. So this is his inning, no doubt.
The 1-0. This one's barreled to left. Davis racing over. That's going to drop in front of him. Here comes Hewitt all the way around. He's going to try to score. Collette cuts it off, and Hewitt is in easily. That's now the 4th run of the day for the Mammoths. An RBI single with 2 outs for Connor Bagneski.
Decent job by Davis to get to that ball quickly. Just not a lot he could do. Had to wait for it to come down, and was angled the opposite way where he needed to collect that throw. So he did the best he could to get it to Collette, but by that time, Hewitt was already scampering his way home. Mammoths producing another run here in the 4th.
Hewitt scored from second. He was able to reach on a 1-pitch single with 2 outs, and then the walk to Perez, and now the single from Bagneski meets us at Buddy Dueling with 2 on and 2 outs. Check the swing, but a called strike 1.
And that pitch there is a big reason why he was able to have some success in the first 3 innings, despite what the results have been in terms of the score.
Stubbs not holding Bagneski on at first. Dueling, hard hit down the line, hooking foul. Lands right next to the Beavers bullpen over there, where there is some action. Eric Sandus is the expected first arm out of the pen for the Beavers today. Jeremy, confirmation on the binoculars?
Yes, there it is there for you too here.
There we see Sandus on the monitor as well. 0-2 to Dueling. Already has a home run today. That was another hard hit ball on the last pitch. This one's in the dirt.
It'll be interesting for Sandus. I think just trying to reverse his fortunes so far this year. Had a really strong first outing, but has struggled since. Had a guy that pitched quite a bit in affiliate ball, so they want to see what he can do out of the bullpen and see if that velo won't uptick a bit as well.
Hovered around 87 to 89 so far today through 3 2/3. Trying to get out of this inning here. Has Dueling behind in a 1-2 with 2 on and 2 out. Swing and a miss, and Shea does do just that after giving up a 2-out single, which led to a run. The Mammoths now extend their lead 4-0 over the Beavers. Home half of the 4th when we come back.
There are many things you can rely on in this world, like a sunny day brightening your mood, your mom baking the world's best apple pie, and never a dull moment in running your business. And when it comes to time-consuming HR tasks, you can rely on Tryon. Tryon can handle payroll and taxes, employee benefits, and more, so you can stay focused on attracting and retaining the best talent. With Tryon, you don't have to grow it alone. Visit RelyOnTryon.com.
You can always rely on Tryon.
Throughout your life, from big moments to ones well earned, we're your financial guardian angel. Alliance Catholic Credit Union.
Greg Lokinen has retired 6 in a row. Check that, 8 in a row in this Beavers lineup, and he's working with a 4-0 lead. Pretty textbook start for how the Mammoths wanted this one to go today for their ace Lokinen.
We talked about Shea, one of his better pitches today being the curveball, or the slur, whatever you want to call it. It's been the changeup here today for Greg.
First pitch to Davis, chopped on the ground, charging as Hewitt fields it on a hop. And will step on the bag, 1 pitch in, 1 out, 9 in a row now.
That one a fastball, but the changeup has had curveball-like break at times.
Lokinen with a smile. All smiles through 3.5 innings today for the Mammoths. They've got a 4-run lead. They've had a home run, a RBI, 2 RBI double, an RBI single with 2 outs. Offense has been cooking today, and Lokinen matching that on the mound. First pitch, this one's lined under the glove of Parker. And finally, the Beavers get a base runner, Marcos Castillo, with a nice single.
So far, so good for Marcos Castillo. 1 for 2 yesterday with a pair of walks. Has another hard hit single into right. He's wasted no time to kick off his pro career here today.
Yep.
And yesterday, I guess. Yesterday and today. How about that?
First professional weekend. This is the second professional weekend for this man, J.D. Stubbs. Another player on the list of due for a home run, I should say. Stubbs you can just look at and know he's got home run power.
Kind of in that out streak as well for Loken. Didn't really have to go to the secondary stuff much because they were swinging so early. Got some good contact outs.
2 pitches before Stubbs came up to bat. 1 pitch and 1 out to Davis, and 1 pitch and 1 single for Castillo. 2-0 on Stubbs now. Native of Fort Pierce, Florida, played at Georgia Gwinnett, where this guy on the mound played as well. Hits that one off his foot, foul. Stubbs never was able to play with Lokinen. He was gone before Stubbs had gotten there, but .933 in his most recent season. 4 home runs, almost 50 RBIs for Mr. Stubbs.
And Georgia Gwinnett, one of the better tended to fields in the NAI, known for being very nice.
They won a national championship 2 years ago, and that's lined out for a single. Out to right, Stubbs gets on base. And now maybe a rally starting for the Beavers. Back-to-back singles, 2 on, 1 out.
There's a lot of guys available here today. We could even see Rafi Vasquez, the guy who's been on the IL for, what, a couple weeks now? Maybe 3?
2 weeks at least, maybe 3. Vasquez, for those that don't remember, was perhaps the most bizarre injury we've had this year. Cut his thumb open, his pitching thumb, while opening a can of pumpkin, making a special dessert. This one's out to center. Albaret hit it well. Going back is Thomas. He'll field it just in front of the warning track. Castillo was going to tag. Now gets back to the base, and he's going to be out. No, he's safe somehow. Boy, I don't know how Castillo found a way back in. I thought Parker had his foot on the bag.
Just live, I think he did maybe just sneak in. But it was close.
Parker tagged him for safe measure. Didn't need to, though.
The tag was
or
late.
Did he because Castillo had tagged up? Because obviously if Castillo runs and it's just caught on the air, you can just step on the bag to make him out. But he did tag up and didn't leave second base until after the catch was made. Out in center by Tanner Thomas. Now Castillo steals third and easily takes it. So tag or not, he ends up at third.
Trying to generate their own run. It's that kind of day for the Beavers. Just feels like every time the Mammoths step to the plate, they have a chance to at least score one. They've done that in every inning but one. My bad.
You're right. Now Castillo at first as Sullivan pops this one up softly into right. Coming in is Weinberger. This should end the inning, and it will. So after back-to-back singles, Lokinen gets out of it. 2 flyouts to the outfield, and we'll head to the 5th on the USPBL Network.
As your neighbor who works at Ascension, Michigan, and a cardiologist who's practiced for more than 20 years, I'm going to keep asking, how are you feeling today? Your care can't wait. Getting care sooner can mean catching things before they get worse. At Ascension, Michigan, our ERs and our hospitals and other sites of care are maintaining strict precautions for your safety. Studies have shown that people will get care sooner if they're encouraged by their doctors, family, and friends. Get the care you need at getascensionmichigancare.com.
Great seats at a great price. Get them safer, simpler, and smarter with TicketSmarter. A proud partner to the biggest names in live sports and events, including ESPN events and iHeartRadio. TicketSmarter has seats for over 125,000 live events and 48 million tickets for sale. All backed with the TicketSmarter 100% ticket guarantee. Thinking about your next great live event? Think smarter. Think TicketSmarter. Get your tickets your way, guaranteed, at TicketSmarter.com.
Pitching change for the Beavers. Austin Shea only walks 1 and strikes out 5, but he's done after 4 innings, and now it's the other starter, Eric Sandness, kind of trying to be a bridge guy today for the Beavers, perhaps in a little bit sooner than they would have wanted here in the top of the 5th. Only expect Sandness to go maybe 2. They were hoping to get more out of Shea, but his day is done after 4 innings pitched. Ends with 5 hits, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts, and 4 runs that come across the board. Only 3 of them earned. Bagneski scored back in the first after reaching on an error.
Sanders with a 4-seam, a 2-seam, a curveball, and a changeup. Go with his 6'6", 210-pound right-handed frame here. Oldest guy in the USPBL, and technically has exceeded the age limit, but because of his circumstances and kind of how his career abruptly paused because of cancer and just all the other things he went through in his life as well, wanted to give him a shot, a guy who pitched in the Kansas City Royals organization for a few years.
Drafted by the Royals back in 2015. Pitched for them for a while, then dealt with testicular cancer in 2015. His baseball career was halted. Lands here at the USPBL. Has done decent so far this year. 4 appearances, 3 starts. Has had a decision in every appearance. He's got a 2-2 record right now. ERA just above 9. Has been hard hit the last few times. But 2 of those 4 appearances have looked really good. 7 walks to 8 strikeouts. The issue for him is the long ball. 3 home runs this year given up. Second most in the USPBL.
Well, there's no wind here today. It's kind of the second straight day where that's been a factor, but we already saw a ball fly pretty far to left field, but that was all the credit to Buddy Dwayne, I think.
Buddy Dwayne muscled that one up. First pitch to Thomas in there for a strike. 88 miles an hour for Sandnes. It's Thomas, Parker, Caruso due up 3-4-5 hitters. Sandnes deliberate delivery. This one's out to center. Going back is Castillo. Maybe a step onto the warning track as he makes the grab and out number 1.
I think they thought the velocity would be a bit more 92, 93. That's what he showed in spring training. So they'd love to see him get back to that mark. But this is a guy that you wouldn't even put a ceiling on it. I mean, 94, 95 was being spit out there a few times by some of the coaches as a possibility if he continued to do what he needed to do.
Mitch Aker and Shane McCaddy of DVS have been working with Sandnes and a lot of these guys. Sandnes, one of those guys who takes his work very seriously, is here on off days that he doesn't need to be here. Works very hard. They like his frame, 6'6", 210. That can lead to a lot of good pitchers. Might have broke the bat on this ground ball to second. Easy play for Fenley. And I think Parker is out of bat. Two up and 2 down now brings up Nick Caruso. 5-hole hitter, strikeout, ground out today. And quick work for Sandnes through the first 2 batters.
You talked to a lot of guys, one of the biggest smiles you get from them when they broke a bat on the mound. Not as a hitter.
It's funny, Caruso today. Taylor Jellikowski is the manager for the Westside Woolly Mammoths, a former USPBL player, played in affiliate ball for the Minnesota Twins. He was the home run derby winner here at the USPBL, a huge power hitter. 1-0 to Caruso, chopped on the ground to third. Collette reaches, it's off his glove, and there is going to be no play. And Caruso boards.
We've talked about some of the taller guys in this infield, especially up the middle between Fenley and Guzman. Collette, not that tall, but you could see him reading it. He did all he could to make sure he leaped at the right moment, which is not easy in a ball like that, but just couldn't haul it in the end.
So now again with 2 outs, the Mammoths keep the inning alive as they did last time. Had a single, walk, and single to bring home a run with 2 outs. Back in the 4th as Weinberger Jr. looks at strike 1. But back to Taylor Jellikowski. Been a while since his playing days, and he decided to take some batting practice today. And he shared the bat with some of the other assistant coaches, Justin Carr and Mitch Aker, our pitcher from the pitching coordinator and a former pitcher of the USPBL, Josh Hines, assistant of the Beavers, a former catcher. They all took their turns, and they were using Nick Caruso's bat, and unfortunately enough for him and for Justin Carr and his assistant coach, that bat didn't make it through batting practice.
It
was broken, yep.
Oh.
Weinberger hits this one to Fenley. Nice job to field it, flip to Stubbs, and Sandnes faces 4, lets one get on, but doesn't give up any runs as we head to the bottom of the 5th here on the USPBL Network.
Dunham Sports is a proud partner of the USPBL. Big names, low prices, delivering value since 1937.
At Fifth Third Bank, we're working hard to make banking a Fifth Third better, which means we put 166.7% into everything we do.
I think you can only give 110%.
Well, with free checking, fraud protection services, and an automatic savings tool to help you quickly reach your goals, 166.7% is possible.
Oh, wait till my 8th graders hear about this. They're gonna be like, it's not possible. But Yes, it is.
This is banking, a Fifth Third better.
Bottom of the fifth here at the USPBL, Jimmy John's Field, downtown Utica. It's time for the Beavers to start scoring some runs, and when it's time for baseball, it's time for beer. Two Hearted Ale has been named the #1 beer in America for the past 4 years by members of the American Homebrewers Association. Play ball with the best. Two Hearted Ale, the iconic American IPA from Bell's Brewery, Comstock, Michigan. Please drink responsibly. Beavers need some runs because they're down 4-0, and this guy, Greg Lokinen, on the mound doesn't want to give them any. Retired 9 in a row from the end of the first all the way to the start of the fourth. It was only then that Marcos Castillo and J.D. Stubbs had back-to-back singles, but they were stranded there after back-to-back flyouts to end that fourth inning. Brings us to the fifth. It'll be Whitfield, Wellington Guzman, and Cameron Collette to face Lokinen. 3 hits for the Beavers. They've stranded 3 runners, no runs and 2 errors. 4 runs, 6 hits, 1 error, and 5 left on base on the other side for the Mammoths. Whitfield only 1 at bat so far today. Came back in the second. Struck out on 4 pitches. Looks at a called ball 1 to start us off in the home half of the fifth. Lokinen working quickly on the righty, and a lazy wave for Whitfield results in a strike. Ball on a strike is hit to short. Perez hit his glove, dropped it, has to barehand field. It's not going to be there in time. And Eric Whitfield gets an infield single on a tough play for Christian Perez.
We saw him make a not so easy play look easy earlier, and you wouldn't put it past him to make a play like that, but we'll see what the Beavers can make of the start here in the fifth. They had runners on first and third with just 1 out in the fourth, couldn't draw up anything, but it feels like this is the time of the game. You know, Sanders just pitched a pretty good inning. If we're going to come back in this game, it should be right now or next.
So it's actually not going to be an infield single. They've been relatively liberal with some of those, so I thought they might give the benefit of the doubt to Whitfield on the tough play for Perez, but that's the second error of the game for the Mammoths. The 1-0 to Guzman. Misses back-to-back pitches. Guzman's ahead 2-0. Guzman, a newcomer, only 1 game played so far. That was yesterday, went 0 for 3. This is inside. Caruso drops it. Guzman quickly ahead 3-0, and a good opportunity to reach on base for the first time in his pro career. Spent 2 seasons at Winston-Salem State and 3 after that at UNC Pembroke for his college days. Pretty good power last year, 15 home runs, 48 RBIs at UNCP. 3-0, taking all the way, strike 1.
Say that 10 times. UNCP.
University of North Carolina, Pembroke. Guzman, a native of North Carolina. Raleigh hits this one out to left. That one gets past the glove of a diving Bagneski. This will be a double all the way to third as Whitfield. He'll stop there as Perez cuts it off. And the first professional hit for Wellington Guzman puts 2 on with nobody out at second and third.
You could tell that Bagneski was in between. Should I dive? Should I just try to keep this one out in front? And you knew regardless, after he dove and missed it, the speedy Guzman would feed to second pretty easily. But a nice knock for your first pro hit here in the fifth. trying to get his team back in this game. It might go a long way. We'll see.
Well, you mentioned if there's a time to do it, it feels like this inning or the next, and now it's definitely this inning. Got to buy in here. Cameron Collette, the 9-hole hitter for the Beavers, up. Looked like on that last one, Begneski maybe just took a bit of a false line. Collette hits this one through, and that's going to be an RBI single. It scores 1 at least, Whitfield, and that's all they're going to get. So now the Beavers starting to pick things up. Whitfield reached on a hard hit error. Guzman the double, Collette the RBI single, and the Beavers are on the board. And now they still have 2 on the corners, nobody out, in the top of the order coming up.
First time they've had 3 on. First time they've obviously reached 3 in a row as well. There's still, there is some action now in the Mammoths pen. There was none to start as Lokinen's pitch count was pretty in order. It looks like Vasquez down there getting up and loose.
Vasquez is who we thought we would see. Been a while since we've seen him pitch. Here in the USPBL, first pitch to Fenley. This one's hit again. This should score the run out in center. Under it is Thomas. He'll collect. Coming home is Guzman. He will get there in time. It's cut off by Hewitt, and there's no throw, and now a 2-run 5th. Still with only 1 out. Mammoths are cooking.
I think he might have had a chance if that throw was not cut off. Was it on a line enough? It was kind of over to the first base side of home plate, so you obviously would never know now if it had a chance in it out at home. But regardless, these Beavers swinging well here in the 5th, seeing Lokinen now the 3rd time through as we head to the number 2-hole hitter here.
RBI for Fenley. That's his 4th in 5 games. Now Davis up with 1 on and 1 out. Collette's over at first. Called strike 1.
We've seen that a little bit more as this game has gone on. The changeup worked so well for him. That was late in counts, but he's been throwing a few more first pitch curveballs.
The 0-1 misses ball and a strike on the left fielder Davis. Reached on his first professional single, infield single just in front of the mound back in the 1st. That one's in there for strike 2. Lined out to Hewitt, the first baseman, in the 4th. The 1-2, that one misses in the dirt.
These 2 catchers have done a nice job here today. Albaret very early on blocked some pivotal balls. Now Caruso, you obviously don't want these runners advancing anywhere past first base at this point. Already a run in.
2 balls and 2 strikes, chopping down the line. Foul, it goes down the first base side. Yeah, we've seen all year so far a lot of passed balls and wild pitches lead to not only advanced runners but scoring runs. Sometimes late in games, tie the game, take the lead. It's been a kind of a quintessential factor of run scoring this year in the league is defensive catchers and how well they can get in front of balls and stop them. The 2-2 again to Davis. Got him, strike 3. Man, that was weird. It looked like our home plate umpire almost didn't want to call it. It was a soft punch out. Gets Davis looking. That's strikeout number 5. Now 2 down for Marcos Castillo.
And it's a call that most of our arms that we've seen here today haven't really gotten. Shea really wanted some of those calls earlier, but just wasn't getting it from the home plate umpire tonight.
Runner goes. Castillo hits a rocket foul left side. It's Collette over there at first.
Looked like a quick hands drill there.
Yeah, that was Castillo's 2nd hard hit ball today. He had a double in the 4th. Was stranded at 3rd after he stole that base, but now the Beavers have gotten on the board, cut this deficit in half. Swing and a miss, it lost the bat.
Get him some pine tar. There you go.
About to say, yeah, bit of a shriek from the fans there. So 2 hard swings for Castillo, and he's behind 0-2.
Stubbs gives him the assist there.
Dirtied up today already on the double. It's been kind of busy out in center, too. We've seen a lot of balls flying out all directions of the outfield, but center field has been pretty busy. Both Tanner Thomas and Castillo getting their work in. The 0-2 again, misses high and away. Collette stays at first. Might try to get into scoring position with 2 outs here. Ran on the last pitch. Excuse me, the first pitch that was fouled away. Collette stays on the 1-2. Castillo waits. A little late, fouls it off to the right side.
That's one thing we really haven't seen from Lokinen too much throughout his career is hanging breaking balls. Haven't seen it tonight for sure, but that could have been dangerous. A little bit more in the heart of the plate. Stayed high, though.
1-2. Another one. This one's a little blooper, and Parker is there to make a nice grab for out number 3, but not before the Beavers bring themselves back in this game. They cut this deficit in half. They put 2 on the board in the bottom of the 5th, and Jeremy Otto takes over when we come back in the 6th on the USPBL Network.
Why are all these business owners smiling? Because they rely on Tryon to handle difficult and time-consuming HR tasks like payroll, benefits administration, and more. Working with one of the nation's top professional employer organizations provides access to top-tier healthcare and employee benefit plans and Tryon's team of attorneys and HR experts. With Tryon, you don't have to grow it alone. Visit RelyOnTryon.com.
You can always rely on Tryon.
What makes Detroit Mercy so unique is the fact that it's in the middle of Detroit. The urban setting is really fantastic to be a part of, and especially with their service learning programs, you really get a chance to be a part of the community.
My education here isn't just academic. This school wants you to be the best you that you can be. All aspects of the things that I do here have participated in giving back.
Detroit Mercy. Build a boundless future.
Well, here's how to get your own game-worn Ted Lasso AFC Richmond Beavers jersey. You can head to 32auctions.com/Ted Lasso. Again, that's 32auctions.com/Ted Lasso. It's open until noon Eastern time on Saturday, July 2nd. That's next week. The auction is benefiting the Sweet Dreams Project. Sweet Dreams Project is a nonprofit organization dedicated to creating healing environments through custom design rooms that promote rest, recovery, and joy for children with a range of challenges. Find out more about this Michigan-based organization at sweetdreamsproject.org.
I would prefer that you didn't do that, though, because I want a jersey, and I have to make sure they don't run out. Those were awesome.
You're going to have to
Ted Lasso fan.
Donate your funds there.
I'll donate whatever they want if I can get a jersey. I just got to make sure there's jerseys left over, you know. Just give me, everybody, if you could just wait till 11 p.m. Give me time to get home after this game, hop on my computer.
So I'm not going to say there's been a complete shift of momentum in this game, but it's starting to feel like it could potentially swing the other way here. If the Beavers can shut down the Mammoths here in the 6th, get some base runners on, but it was just such a hot start, kind of way different than what we saw in the game in the 5th. 4 really productive at-bats in a row.
Yeah, and I think, you know, the scorecard doesn't look great for Austin Shea today, but if he had been maybe just a little bit better or a little bit worse, this game would be drastically different. If he had not quite had some of the stuff he did have today, the slurve was working well, fastball was located decently enough.
Here's Guzman, booted it.
Fastball was located decently enough that he was able to get out of some innings. If he had been a little bit worse than that, this might be a bigger lead for the Mammoths, but he was able to kind of survive his way through 4 innings, only giving up 4 runs on just 5 hits. So now Sandus came in the 5th, was able to get out of that quickly. The Beavers' bats get going. Maybe Sandus can have another inning here in the 6th like the last one. Yeah, the momentum is certainly shifting.
That can all change if the Mammoths rally here in the 6th. They've scored 2 in the first, 1 in the third, another 1 in the fourth. Shut out in the 2nd and 5th thus far. Sandus hoping for back-to-back here in the 5th and 6th. On the slide step, popped this one up. Whitfield's already made a nice running play here today. Fenley going after it as well, but the two tracksters can't get to it.
I think if Whitfield is in his typical spot over there in right, he probably makes that play, has some speed on those legs, but he is shaded for Hewitt to pull the ball almost in right center. Makes it a much longer run for him.
It was a very quick 5th inning in terms of pitches as well. Got a lot of first swing contact. This one punched in between Guzman and Colletts, and we have back-to-back base runners here in the 6th.
Hit and run on for the Mammoths. Vaughn going on the pitch, but it's hit into left, so that's the shortest throw to third. Obviously, ideally, if you're the Mammoths, not only do you get both base runners to get on, but you could get Vaughn over to third. Hewitt pulls it instead. Good inside hitting, though. That pitch was in on the hands a little bit, and he was able to get in front of it, put it in play. 2 on, nobody out.
First pitch swinging again off the end of the bat. Guzman feeds to second, over to first. Got him by a hair, if that. And it looks like Christian Perez thought he was safe.
Well, Perez, 6'5", speedy guy, 180, doesn't have a lot of weight to carry. Gets down the line quickly and with long strides. It was close, but I thought live they got him. Tie goes the runner, maybe?
It's bang, bang, yeah. It's tough to tell.
Especially for our field umpire, who with base runners on is out there at second base instead of first.
First pitch to Bagneski, chops it to the potential hole. Fenley cuts it off. Boy, did he get his sprints in. Here in the 6th inning of work. Good job by Sandus to strand a couple base runners that led off the 6th. It's still 4-2. We'll see if the bats can keep on moving.
Every summer, my family loves to have a neighborhood movie night in our backyard. And with my Chevy Blazer, I can head out and get everything we need for a great night. It has plenty of room for picking up friends, and the available hands-free liftgate is perfect for loading unhandy supplies. You know, it may be movie night, but my Blazer is the main attraction wherever I go.
Lease a 2022 Blazer 2LT for just $239 a month for 24 months. Put it in D and see why Chevy drives the Motor City.
Make your move with a quick and easy mortgage from Genesis Credit Union. We have mortgages to fit your life. Genesis Credit Union. Visit us today.
Rafi Vasquez back on the mound for the first time in a couple weeks, fresh off injured reserved. 6'2", 200 pounds, native of Virginia, throws a sinker, a four-seam, a slider, and a changeup as well. Kind of after they broke spring training, they really envision this right-handed arm as being their number 2 starter.
Which is a big surprise given that Vasquez a couple years ago wasn't pitching, but a good friend of Mitch Aker growing up in Virginia near the D.C. area, hasn't pitched since 2017, kind of pitched as he was growing up, and then was an infielder in college at Coastal Carolina and UNC Charlotte, and kind of similar to a teammate of his, Neil Freeman, realizing that it's kind of easier to get to the show as a pitcher, and he's got the stuff, a better base to start your pitching career than some guys would have, given that he pitched for a couple of years before switching over to strictly infield. And he looked good in spring training when we saw him primarily. Only had 2 appearances in the season before cutting his finger. The slider was good. Four-seam velocity was decent.
Fastball at 91, high to J.D. Stubbs here. 4 in the lineup, 4, 5, 6. Aberrett and Sullivan to follow.
I mean, 91 out of the pen for the first time in a couple weeks is pretty good.
1-0 popped him up. Bagneski hovering towards the line. There's out number 1. 2 available on the bench here today for Von Joshua, McFadden and Ramirez. Ramirez with his second straight day out of the lineup. Looking to get that bat going for Eric. For his pitching in the hands of Aberrett as he spoils it foul.
Yeah, Ramirez had a really good 3 games with the Unicorns before being traded over to the Beavers. 6 RBIs, had a grand slam as his first professional home run. Hasn't quite had that same fortune with the Beavers yet, but is still a good hitter. Von Joshua really likes the way he competes at the plate. He's a willing base. I mean, he willed the only 2 runs in a Beavers loss the other day around the base paths, just being aggressive, stealing bases, and moving on wild pitches.
Line drive to left, hanging up there. Bagneski with 2 outs in a row.
Some hard contact for Vasquez, but the stuff looks like it's there for right now. 91 fastball. It doesn't look like he's throwing all that hard, though. You know, and he doesn't have this violent motion on top of the mound, which we don't know his grade, but should be good for DVS metrics and staying healthy. And, you know, this is the first time we're getting to see him. We'll see what he can do and how he can build off of this moving forward.
That's a good lounging spot, huh?
Comfy.
A few blankets there. Pronounce those chairs for me. You did it so well the other day.
Adirondack. Yes.
Sullivan with a swing and a miss there.
Now asking me to spell them, that's a different story.
Do you know why they're named that? Do you have any idea?
I have not the slightest clue.
I think it's a city, if I'm not mistaken. I want to say Arizona.
That kind of sounds about right.
1-1 outside, 2-1. I can tell you, do not buy the plastic version.
I was going to say, hot take, Adirondack chairs are not the most comfortable.
Those usually are pretty well built. I think those are either the kind of
sturdy
Trex
wood
vinyl
ones.
type of thing, or the wood. Yeah. 2-1 swing and miss. But I agree. You kind of have to arch your back a little bit and more
Especially,
of a hard surface.
You know, for oldies like you, they're low to the ground. They're hard to get up out of.
Yeah, I bent over the other day, and now I have a little backache going on. Now the 2-2 whittled foul.
It's a nice pitch from Vasquez, the one before last. That little slider that kind of ducked out of the zone, almost more of a curveball. 79 miles an hour. Had Sullivan swinging way on top of it.
But maybe that plays me up, like a good fastball that, maybe isn't that hard, but plays up in the zone or something. Because being young in this industry is not a good thing generally.
What's wrong with being young in this industry?
you know firsthand. 2-2 on Sullivan.
I guess I get what you're saying, but it doesn't in any industry. Doesn't everybody want to be young? That's all I've heard growing up. Oh, to be young again. I kind of feel that. I wish I was 12 years old again.
Now the 2-2 again, in on the hands. Wow, what a wipeout slider. His best tonight. That was something we definitely had in our notes in his 2 appearances. Heavy slider with some high spin. No different there to end the 6th inning.
Elevate your life on the road with a new Lincoln from Crest Lincoln. We're here to provide a purchase and ownership experience that's on your terms. We have new Lincolns arriving every day, or take advantage of ordering your Lincoln exactly how you'd like it, and you'll receive an additional $1,000 benefit towards that purchase or lease. We're celebrating 100 years of elevating the driving experience. Discover the possibilities at Crest Lincoln in Sterling Heights, or visit us today at crestlincoln.com.
We build roads, bridges, wind farms, and pipelines, schools to skyscrapers. Our members create monuments. We operate. We're the operators and mechanics behind the advanced heavy machines that move Michigan forward. We maintain boilers and HVAC. Our members run the complex heating and cooling systems that we all depend on. Our training is second to none, and safety is our priority. We are Operating Engineers 324, and we keep Michigan running.
Great seats at a great price. Get them safer, simpler, and smarter with Ticket Smarter. A proud partner to the biggest names in live sports and events, including ESPN events and iHeartRadio. Ticket Smarter has seats for over 125,000 live events and 48 million tickets for sale. All backed with the Ticket Smarter 100% ticket guarantee. Thinking about your next great live event? Think smarter. Think Ticket Smarter. Get your tickets your way, guaranteed, at ticketsmarter.com.
Shake it off here at the ballpark. Buddy Dueling, Tanner Thomas, Houston Parker looking to put some more runs on the board for this Mammoth squad. Oh, wow.
Look at that Rays jersey.
That's sharp.
That's the throwback. I love those ones.
It's almost like he knew he was on camera there.
Yeah.
He stopped.
I have found, when we're talking about the industry, this industry, I have found that in this industry, inanimate objects and people on camera are out to screw you. There are the number of times I've had something great in my viewfinder or on my monitor as a director at Big Ten Plus for Michigan State, and it changes right before I get there. We at least got a little dance moves from that guy.
That cut by Dueling. Talk about a good breaking ball. That's the curveball from Sandness.
It's been fun today if you're a breaking ball fan. All four pitchers that we've seen, again, look at that. 81 on that one from Sandness. But all four pitchers, Shea had the slurve, Lokinen's curve was working, Vasquez had the wipeout slider, and now Sandness, he's got that curve cooking too. No surprise he goes back to it there. Dueling was probably sitting that whole time.
Some more action. There's another guy we thought we might see today, Jesse Galindo. We saw him warming yesterday at some point. 1-2, shot to Guzman, cuts it off well, recovers from that play in the 6th inning.
Yeah, that was a nice job there. Kind of had to almost give that cartoon Flintstone stop on a dime and slide a little bit when that ball kind of changed directions as he was barreling to his right side. Well played.
Just had the sound effects, huh?
Yeah. The screech.
Tanner Thomas, big double in the first, 0 for 2 since. Lofting fastball remains outside. Recheck that defense here for the Beavers in the 7th. It's Aberrett catching the pitches. Stubbs and Collette on the corners. Fenley and Guzman up the middle. 1-0 to Stubbs. He slips and then tags.
We've got Flintstone-like plays all around. Stubbs was kind of running in place almost a little bit before he fell all the way down there. Good composure, though. A lot of guys would kind of tend to maybe get scared and scramble to the bag. He just laid there for a minute, softly put the glove on the bag.
Gonna smooth out that dirt.
Yeah. It's the dirt's fault, isn't it?
The dirt monster got you. It's usually the turf monster, huh?
Right.
So the first 2 outs recorded here in the 7th, but soft contact for the most part against Sandness is yet to record a K. Houston Parker shoots this one foul. Sandus, another guy they're really looking to limit the walks. Nearly even walks to strikeouts in his minor league seasons as well, 0-1, but that was all the way back in 14-15.
Similar to Lokinen, just on the inverse. Lokinen was on the higher end for both strikeouts and walks per 9. Sandus on the lower end, only 4.6 strikeouts per 9, but with that 4 walks per 9, which is pretty good. Just more of a pitch-to-contact guy, and that's successful as long as the contact is soft. It's been like that today. As we mentioned, 3 home runs on the year, second most of any pitcher in the USPBL. That soft contact hasn't worked all year.
Working quickly. Boy, that fastball nearly tapered back over the plate. 2-2 on Parker. Couple RBI double back in the first, a ground out in the third, and a ground out in the fifth as well. Two low and away. The 3-2. Curveball away. First walk he has surrendered here tonight through 2 2/3. Nice chatter. Scurrying through the ballpark as we speak here today.
Ballpark buzz.
Yeah, it's just kind of
good.
One of those things you're used to in the summer. A bit different than most sports, I would say. People hanging out, though, as you see, on those chairs and the blankets and the berm out in right field. Shot to Collette, feeds to second, and that will end a quick 7th inning here today as well. Parker out. The score remains the same.
Hey fans, Dr. Joe here with Michigan Orthopedic Surgeons. We're about to do the 7th inning stretch. But speaking of stretching, it's extremely important. Whether you're a little leaguer or an ageless athlete who's been hitting the softball field for 30 seasons, stretching and warm-up can help keep you in the game. Start with some slow, gentle stretching for about 5 minutes or so. Then run the bases a few times. Then grab one of your buddies and toss the ball, increasing the velocity and distance over that time. Take it from me. You stretch and warm up, you'll avoid us, and you'll avoid the bench this season. For more information, go to miorthosurgeons.com.
I could use some of that stretching, right?
Yeah, you should see them. Their back tweak.
Well, it's time for Take Me Out to the Ball Game, brought to you by Michigan Orthopedic Surgeons here today. Here we go once again. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack. I don't care if I never get back, for it's root for the home team. If they don't win, it's a shame, for it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game. 7th inning stretch brought to you by Michigan Orthopedic Surgeons here today on the USPBL Network. Stick with us.
There's nothing better than a ball game at Jimmy John's Field and a cold beer from Midland Brewing Company. Hi, I'm Kyle, the head brewer at Midland Brewing Company, here to wish you a stellar time making memories at Jimmy John's Field. And we hope that you're living it up with a Copper Harbor Ale in your cup. You can find more of our selections here at the ballpark and around town at your favorite bottle shops too. We hope you have a ball at the game, and remember, enjoy responsibly. Let's play ball.
What makes Detroit Mercy so unique is the fact that it's in the middle of Detroit. The urban setting is really fantastic to be a part of, and especially with their service learning programs, you really get a chance to be a part of the community.
My education here isn't just academic. This school wants you to be the best you that you can be. All aspects of the things that I do here have participated in giving back.
Detroit Mercy. Build a boundless future.
The relievers really showing up here today. Sanchez and Vasquez with some good innings. This is Vasquez's second frame of work here tonight. We saw the fastball arch up to 91. That one at 88. As Eric Whitfield looks at one outside. Whitfield, Guzman, Collette. Tough play. Bare hand. Dueling slings it to first. Can't get him. And now Whitfield realizes late it gets away as he will jog his way to second. Nobody covering the bag, and they quickly make sure that third is covered. 3 guys over there. Dwayne Perez and Vasquez. So another leadoff man on for the Mammoths. They haven't done it a whole lot, or for the Beavers, I should say, here today. Not a whole lot, but the one inning they did back in the 5th, they scored 2, the only 2 here tonight for Birmingham Bloomfield. Wellington Guzman with a double his last time up. He was a part of that little stretch. First professional hit. And it was sharp. Bagneski tried to snatch it in midair, just couldn't on a dive. He was kind of in between on a ball that was well hit. He got to it quickly, but Guzman swinging on the 3-0 pitch to boot there as well. 1-1 in on the hands. Fastball at 90, fouled it away. Well, Rafi Vasquez talked about his story a little bit, kind of transitioning back to pitching for the first time in a long time at the highest of levels as well here in the professional ranks. Now the 1-2 slider in on the hands. That one shot to right field. Weinberger not going to get it. Whitfield around third. He will hold up there. That'll put runners on first and third here with no outs in the 7th. I like kind of what Vasquez said about his journey, because it definitely hasn't been a clean or easy journey in terms of how he's got here. When you have to transition to a new position to kind of make the pros, not the easiest of ways, but he says, hey, look, I don't call it a grind. I've enjoyed this process. And maybe in the back of his mind, he always knew this would be the case. But it takes at times, the right fit to, commit to a change like that. Some colleges just aren't, willing to do that.
I think especially when you started or have pitched before, too, you always know that's a possibility. They're going to ask, hey, have you ever pitched before? Have you ever, what positions have you played? Because you never know what you might need. And it adds a little bit more pressure trying to do that, make that adjustment. But he's done well so far. He's here for a reason. The Mammoths like him a lot. The upper management in the USPBL, Shane McCaddy and Mitch Aker, they like him a lot as well. And for good reason.
Two and one on Collette. As that one bounces, Guzman heading to second. He's there with a slide, so good start again for the Beavers. We saw this in the 5th. They scored 2, a leadoff error, and then the double. RBI single by Collette, the sacrifice by Fenley. Able to come home and score a couple times there.
It was this part of the order, the 2. Whitfield was the one that reached on the error. Him and Guzman were the 2 to come around. Collette had an RBI single. Fenley, who's waiting on deck, had the sacrifice fly.
Lights are on here at the ballpark as the sun starts to set. The 3-2 on the ground. Going to score a run. Whitfield will come home. Guzman to third. And look at these Beavers just kind of hanging around and making it 4-3 here in the 7th.
That's exactly what you want to do if you're Cameron Collette. Worked a good at bat, saw a lot of pitches, got it to get full, and the main focus with runners in scoring position, especially a guy on third, and less than 2 outs is hit it to the right side.
Look out, gets away. The infielders are in, and not sure Guzman got the best of reads on it, as he really didn't even move from his position at third base. We saw it yesterday. A ball really rocket off the padding, and maybe it didn't hit the padding. Maybe it was the brick where you
just below,
have to hit it just right to get the perfect bounce. But I think it was Abaret who got a perfect dime right back to home plate. Infielder still in the 0-1. Chopped foul. Oh, that's not one you want to see. The defense they're playing here. It's Dwayne Jr. on third, Perez at short, Parker at second, and Hewitt over at first.
I think to your last point about Guzman not quite getting a good read, that's probably because Fenley took a swing, not expecting a pitch to get by the catcher when your batter is swinging at the plate. And obviously Fenley, the right-hander, kind of blocks Guzman's view a little bit.
Shot into left field, a base hit. The Beavers have tied it.
Really good at bat from Fenley there. Had a good foul off, timed it well. Good two-strike hitting, defensive. Got a pitch he was able to turn on, kind of square up and put it through that gap in the infield that was playing in. Less reaction time for those infielders.
Here's Chris Davis. Fastball high at 89. Velocity is ticked down a little bit maybe here in the 7th inning for Vasquez. And, you know, we'll give him a break, obviously, because he's just working his way back. But this is another arm that they didn't really put a ceiling on in terms of how high he could reach. I mean, they thought maybe 93, 95 could be a decent goal by year's end.
A guy who they want to be as a starter, stretch him to 5 innings or so.
1-1 high and away. And we've talked about, you know, obviously you have to perform, and we've seen quite a few cuts in the last couple weeks. But especially for Vasquez, he's going to, in general, have a lengthier leash just because he's trying to learn this pitching game in professional baseball. Barely having much time to prepare for this moment as well.
And trying to come back from an injury that shouldn't be sustained. We often see guys be limited after injuries. Thacker, who had an oblique injury, when he comes back.
Shot to right, a base hit, and maybe more. Davis has speed. Fenley to third base, jogging there. And all of a sudden, runners in first and third in a tie game here in the 7th.
Chris Davis, how about a good day to get your first professional hit and then keep the inning alive here in the 7th with a rope out there to right. Good pull hitting, got out in front of that one. But back to our conversation, you know, Thacker had the oblique. He's probably going to have a short leash when he comes back. That's something you don't want to re-aggravate. But for Vasquez, kind of such an odd injury, cutting open his finger, you really just have to let that heal. And then, you know, once it's healed, it's not something you expect to happen again or something you expect to be aggravated as he pitches.
It's Colin Ledbetter warming up. That's a new stash on him, huh?
Yeah. I complimented it today.
He didn't have any facial hair before.
Not that I remember.
First and third, still with only 1 out here. The middle of the lineup coming up. Castillo looks at a loopy breaking ball in for strike 1. That's the slider with curveball-like spin. Castillo today with a single in the 4th. 0-1. Into left field, the base hits. 5-4 Beavers here in the 7th.
Well, this is what we've been waiting for the past 10 games for the Beavers, for the Bats to kind of wake up. They started off the year 2-1, lost 8 of the 9 since, you know, now 3-9. It's all been because of the Bats. They haven't really been able to get things going. You know, usually 4 runs or less in a lot of these losses. It's been other things too. Their bullpen has been good. The starting pitchers could have used a little bit of work, but now that the Bats come alive, we see what they can do. A lot of these new additions are really an advantage. Fenley's got an RBI or 2 RBIs today. Davis gets on and keeps the inning alive. Castillo, that's his second time getting on. He gets an RBI.
Taylor Jellikowski has brought the hook, and you can see Rafi Vasquez pretty frustrated. He had a really good inning in the 6th, and it hasn't been anything remarkable in terms of contact. They just kind of have hit it in between the 4-hole and the 6-hole really here tonight. Back with the pitching change when we get back. Colin Ledbetter throws hard when we return here on the USPBL Network.
What makes Detroit Mercy so unique is the fact that it's in the middle of Detroit, and especially with their service learning programs, you really get a chance to be a part of the community.
Detroit Mercy. Build a boundless future.
There are many things you can rely on in this world, like a sunny day brightening your mood, your mom baking the world's best apple pie, and never a dull moment in running your business. And when it comes to time-consuming HR tasks, you can rely on Tryon. Tryon can handle payroll and taxes, employee benefits, and more, so you can stay focused on attracting and retaining the best talent. With Tryon, you don't have to grow it alone. Visit RelyOnTryon.com.
You can always rely on Tryon.
Check your checking. If your account doesn't get you pumped, amped, or geeked, make the switch to Genius Checking from Genesis Credit Union. It's just genius.
Colin Ledbetter on the mound, taking over for Rafi Vasquez here in the 7th. He'll face J.D. Stubbs, the 4-hole hitter. Stubbs, Aberrett, and Sullivan. And what has already been a long inning, 6 batters here in the 7th.
The thing that stands out to me, of those 6 batters, we talked about the newcomers doing well. 4 of them new guys within the past week. And Stubbs would be the 5th. Stubbs, Castillo, Davis, Fenley, Guzman, who was the 2nd batter.
Fastball low and in, 2-0 on Stubbs. Single in the 4th, strikeout in the 1st, pop out in the 6th. Corner infielder's kind of in tight towards the line, guarding that no doubles territory. 2-0, line drive right, Weinberger coming in. Oh, he was ready to unleash to first base and or second if there was an opportunity. Hewitt playing off the bag, just in case that ball was his. But that's one of those perfect plays where you're in stride, trying to fire a dart, but
we've seen him do it already this year. Threw a runner tagging from third out from left field on a fly out. That was a double play to end that inning. Hard hit ball by Stubbs too, just didn't hit the gaps like all of his other teammates have in this inning.
1-0 on the ground to Dwayne Jr. He'll tag the bag and end the inning. That's a huge out here in the 7th inning. The Beavers score 3 after it looked like their offense might have been dead in this game. They have taken the lead.
As your neighbor who works at Ascension, Michigan, and a cardiologist who's practiced for more than 20 years, I'm going to keep asking, how are you feeling today? Your care can't wait. Getting care sooner can mean catching things before they get worse. At Ascension, Michigan, our ERs and our hospitals and other sites of care are maintaining strict precautions for your safety. Studies have shown that people will get care sooner if they're encouraged by their doctors, family, and friends. Get the care you need at GetAscensionMichiganCare.com.
First State Bank is a locally owned and operated business. We're part of your community. At FSBCares.com, you'll find ways that we're making a difference by featuring locally owned and operated businesses, providing access to helpful financial resources, and engaging with community. FSBCares.com is part of our commitment to the neighborhood because strong neighbors mean stronger communities. Where good neighbors do great things. Member FDIC and Equal Housing Lender.
Jesse Galindo takes over on the mound here for Eric Sandus in the 8th. Fastball, curveball, changeup over the top when he goes sidearm. Fastball, slider, change. He will face 6, 7, 8 in what has become a ultra important 8th and potential 9th inning at the plate for the Mammoths, down 5-4 after the 3-run spread.
Beavers were able to get the bats going, and this has been the best part of their team through these first 12 games is the bullpen. Galindo, Crick, Blankenship. See if Galindo can kind of keep it up, the trend that they've had through the start of this season. We talked about it, the Beavers need a win.
Some good adversity management by Eric Sandus as well. Solid 5, 6, and 7th innings here tonight. Leadoff error in the 6th and the double. Put runners on first and second. Turn a 6-4-3 double play. Then the 4-3 ground out to end the threat. Retired the first 2 in the 7th. 2-out walk and a fielder's choice right after that. First pitch fastball. Swing and a miss here by Weinberger. The 1-1. Slider away. Good cut at that one here by Wade. 2-2. Weinberger today 0 for 3. Strikeout in the first, pop out in the 4th, ground out in the 5th. Infielders are back. Outfield medium depth. Davis in and left as Wade takes another big hack. It's Davis playing in.
Talked about what Weinberger's done today. A .290 hitter before the start of today's game means he's due. Not going to go 0 for in a full game too many times. Just too good of a hitter.
Full count now. 85-mile-an-hour fastball there.
Good looking sky tonight.
Sure is. Kind of the hint of red or bright yellow, however we want to describe it. Fastball tails away. Not a lot of walks for either pitching staff here tonight. Only the 3rd for the Beavers. Shea had one in the 4th. Sandus one in the 7th. And now Galindo here in the 8th. He never loved to walk the leadoff man, regardless of the situation, but especially here after you've taken the lead.
And with the DH due up behind him.
Vaughn Jr. looks at a strike. We're nearing 8-9 in the order. They have Brown and Ade available off the bench. But Hewitt has taken some nice cuts here tonight. Perez also reached on a walk. Ouch. The first two have reached here in the 8th.
That's the trouble. You know, the risk that you run in a righty-righty matchup, especially sidearm, it's a lot easier to kind of run in on those hitters, and that's kind of what happened there on Vaughn Jr.
I think that ended up hitting the catcher Abaret off the bounce as well. First pitch fastball in the corner for strike one on Hewitt. Outfielders have backed up a little bit, especially Castillo in center. 0-1. Looped it foul. Some more action in that Beavers bullpen as well. They have a lot of guys at their disposal. Crick now warming up. We kind of talked about it a little bit on the air last night. It wasn't a perfect outing for him, but even a less than perfect outing for James Crick usually ends up okay.
Yeah.
And it did.
I think we talked about that the scouts that were here yesterday liked, and Mitch Aker really liked, was that he made an adjustment. His fastball wasn't working when he got out there, and so he kind of leaned on the breaking balls, leaned on the off speed, and was throwing them for strikes. The changeup and curve were working well, went away from the fastball, and was able to get out of that inning.
The 2-2 outside. You could tell Galindo wanted the previous call before that one. And now all of a sudden, runners on first and second, a walk and a hit by pitch to begin the 8th. And a 3-2 to a guy who already has 2 singles. Continues to battle.
Good spoil there. Good pitch from Galindo. Tough one for Hewitt to put into play anywhere dangerous. So just kind of pound it foul and keep it alive. Look for something better.
Jesse's already thrown 15 pitches. The 3-2 again. Little number. It'll scoot over the head of Abaret and foul.
Same thing there. Galindo doesn't want to give him anything to hit. I think you kind of keep going back to that inside pitch, low and in a little bit. Kind of thigh high for Hewitt, lower half of the strike zone. Make it tough for him to put the barrel on it. If he keeps fouling it off, it opens the outer half of the plate.
Into the glove of Colette. Hewitt flustered, especially after all he gave in that at-bat. Didn't hit anything particularly hard.
And Galindo stuck with it. He went right back to that inside pitch. Hewitt knew he didn't have room to take it for a strike, and he was either going to foul it off again or put it in play. And that's what happens when you work the inside. Hitters tend to get out in front and pull those. That's what Galindo wanted and what he got.
First pitch to Perez. Slider in on the hands, golf foul. And you can tell these hitters have had a little bit of trouble gauging Galindo here today. A little bit heavier fastballs from Shea and Sandness. They just haven't had that same timing down, which is why a guy like this can be effective from the multiple arm angles as well that he comes from.
And right as you say that, you see Perez late on a fastball, falling behind 0-2. Galindo's mixing pitches well. Good calls from Abaret behind the plate.
In there for strike 3. Galindo punches out Perez. 2 notches down after the first 2 reached. Boy, we just keep seeing it in this game, though. I mean, guys facing adversity and for the most part digging themselves back.
Yeah, that's a really great response. I loved that at bat with Hewitt before, and he just had the newcomer Perez all sorts of confused following that for a looking K.
Doesn't get any easier, though. The top of the lineup up, a guy who already has 2 hits as well, Connor Bagneski. Drove in a run back in the 4th with an RBI hit. Plating Duncan Hewitt, which at that time was insurance. 2 in the 1st, a pair in the 3rd and 4th, and that's it thus far for the Mammoths. 2 in the 5th, and 3 in the 7th for the Beavers. They've gotten this offense together. The pitching on the back end has been good as well. 0-1, shot into left field, a base hit. Weinberger could run around the third base bag. The throw comes in, slides away. Got him! Wow. Davis to Aberrett. Taylor Jellikowski protests. He's beside himself as he heads back to the first base dugout.
Well, what a throw from Davis, out or not. He put this thing on a line, got rid of it quickly after the ball landed in front of him.
Get a quick look. Unfortunately, we can't show it to you, but here on our Facebook monitor, dribbler to left, Davis chucks one in.
Throw got there in time. It was a good slide from Weinberg. I don't know if Aberrett reached out far enough down that third base line to beat Weinberger in front of the plate. It was close, though.
We'll come back with the bottom of the 8th after this.
There are things you can rely on in this world, like your dog being happy to see you, coffee getting you through the day, and the government changing business regulations. And when it comes to navigating those regulations, you can rely on Tryon and its team of attorneys. Tryon can also tackle time-consuming HR tasks like payroll and employee benefits, so you can stay focused on growing your business. With Tryon, you don't have to grow it alone. Visit RelyOnTryon.com.
You can always rely on Tryon.
We joined Green Path and instantly felt a support around us.
They developed a plan on paper, and this is how we're going to do it.
The plan that they gave me was something that was sustainable. It was something I could do. It was actually lowering my payments monthly by hundreds of dollars.
Choosing Green Path is a no-brainer.
Great seats at a great price. Get them safer, simpler, and smarter with TicketSmarter. A proud partner to the biggest names in live sports and events, including ESPN events and iHeartRadio. TicketSmarter has seats for over 125,000 live events and 48 million tickets for sale. All backed with the TicketSmarter 100% ticket guarantee. Thinking about your next great live event? Think smarter. Think TicketSmarter. Get your tickets your way, guaranteed, at TicketSmarter.com.
Looking for his first complete inning. Came in a critical time in the 7th inning with things kind of slipping away. The Beavers sent 8 to the plate. The first 6 in that inning were productive. Single, single. RBI ground out. Single, single, single. Then it was Ledbetter who drew a line out to right. And a unassisted ground ball to the third baseman, Dwayne Jr., and he was out of the inning. He has that kind of effect more often than not, though. Can of corn here. Caruso discards the mask. Hewitt coming over. Nobody is going to be able to track it down as it's into the stands. Jeremy Otto alongside Brendan Shabat to bring you the call. So glad you could tune in here today. What's a beautiful night for baseball. The sun has subsided. A little bit of a hint of a breeze is enough to keep you comfortable. Now the 0-2 to Sullivan. Boy, only 90, but played up on the interior. Maybe it's because we just watched Jesse Galindo, who doesn't throw extremely hard, but still. Fastball with some run.
And for Ledbetter, there's so much danger with that slider. You really have to wait because he tunnels it so well and see which pitch it is.
Straight on the back. So could things expand in terms of this Beavers lead now?
Well, there's a good guy coming up, Whitfield, who's already reached and scored twice in 3 at-bats today.
First pitch to Eric. Line drive to center. Thomas with a good read in front of 395 out there for the first out.
Yeah, certainly a good read. Only had to track back a few steps. That ball was hard hit and got back there pretty quickly for Whitfield. Another barrel for Eric.
Yeah, there's that limp flag out there. Not much to speak of in terms of breeze. Couldn't have 3 straight days without a breeze, could we?
That's unheard of and criminal here at Jimmy John's Field.
We were not here on Wednesday for the non-public. Was there a breeze on Wednesday? Our man doesn't remember. 0-1 on Wellington Guzman. Wow. Wicked movement on that. Looked like it was heading straight for the hands and whipped right back. 0-2 to Wellington now.
That's why pitch identification as a hitter against Ledbetter is so key.
The 0-2, wow, lollipop that time as Guzman swung around it. 2 down after the leadoff HBP.
It's strange because Ledbetter is such a nice guy and so respectful, but not on the mound. Disrespectful to some of these hitters, makes these guys look silly sometimes.
7th K overall for this Mammoths pitching staff. There's 91 as Collette shot it foul. 8th inning today brought to you by Scott's. We thank them for sponsoring our fine grounds crew here at the USPBL as well. The 0-1. Slider foul.
That one was hung a little bit for Ledbetter. We don't usually see him do that too much, and Collette had the right idea. Tried to punish a mistake pitch, and seen that happen a few times lately. Just got under it. A little too excited.
Oh, 2, my goodness. Clock in and clock out. If you're a hitter here, you're not doing much. Colin Ledbetter, 3 or 4 sharp sliders, maybe some of the best we've seen from him this year. Seatbelt yourself in for the 9th.
At Fifth Third Bank, we're working hard to make banking a Fifth Third better. With free checking and fraud protection services, 166.7% is possible.
166.7.
This is banking, a Fifth Third better.
You hear about the promo that Jimmy's John's got going on? 5 off 20? How they pulling it off? Magic? You got David's Copperfields in there? Show yourself, Copperfields!
Jimmy John's. $5 off orders of 20 or more.
I'm all in with HR and Organizational Development Council.
I'm all in with Marketing and Business Development Council.
I'm all in with Operations and Member Experience Council.
I'm all in with CEO Council.
I'm all in with Lending Council.
I'm all in with CFO Council.
I'm all in with Technology Council.
Our credit union is all in with CUNA Councils.
Jimmy John's Field is the perfect venue for birthday parties, summer picnics, company outings, and provides the best entertainment in Metro Detroit with great baseball all summer long. Spend your summer nights under the lights at Jimmy John's Field in historic downtown Utica.
James Crick looking for the hold here today. Or the save, I beg your pardon. It is the 9th, right? Yes. Top of the 9th inning, Connor Bagneski, Buddy Dueling, Tanner Thomas. Looking to hold down these Mammoths here today. Good come from behind effort by this Birmingham Bloomfield squad. Crick on the season, his 9th appearance overall. Struggled a bit yesterday. And that's because he allowed some base runners. That's what it takes to struggle if you're James Crick this year.
It doesn't take a whole lot. We talked about it. That fastball wasn't working. He made the adjustment, a professional move from him, and it worked out, and he was able to get out of that inning. I tell you what, though, the Mammoths here down a run with their last chance. They almost don't want to tie this game. They need to take the lead. They have not had good luck in the extra innings this year. 0 for 3 in games that have gone extra.
First pitch to Bagneski, swing and a pop foul. Or actually, Dueling, I beg your pardon.
Not a guy you want to hang one to. Already a home run today for Dueling. That one, he was just a little behind on. Home run pop if he puts it in play.
The 0-1. Fastball at 91, in for strike 2. So the official line yesterday, couple base runners, one via an error. So an unearned run, a walk, and a strikeout as well. He pitched before Shaw. They really just wanted to get him some work in the end in what was a Hoppers-dominated game offensively. Fastball away. Dueling today, a home run clubbed off the light tower in left center field just to the left of the scoreboard. The 1-2. Hung the breaking ball.
It's tough, but Dueling, that's a pitch you really want to let go. That one's hung so much that it's above the zone. Ran out of time to drop back into the strike zone. Could have this count even at 2-2. Be sitting on a fastball instead. Still anywhere for Crick to go. I really like this at bat from Crick. He's worked it well.
That one a bit tighter. Dueling just gets the bat head on it.
He fouled off the first breaking ball, and then Crick came back at him with a 91-mile-an-hour fastball low and in for strike 2 to quickly get ahead, and kind of has just been peppering these breaking balls with a fastball mixed in there for Dueling, who's just trying to stay alive.
And he still will,
Ooh.
despite maybe some jeers by the Beavers defense.
That one looks a lot like that second pitch strike that Crick got. Just low and in, pretty good spot, just below the knee, I think, though.
Yeah, Albaret tried to frame it up. It was subtle, but a good job by him to try to steal it. 2-2 outside, maybe 3-2 on Dueling. Some more groans. His buddy checks the count. 9th inning brought to you by UWM. We thank UWM for their sponsorship of the league. Some good at-bats overall here today by a lot of hitters. None different here. Who wins it? 3-2. It's Dueling.
Oh, there's not too many times that you're going to work a walk facing James Crick, and Buddy Dueling earned that one. 3 foul balls on some good pitches. I think a good eye on those last 2 that are pretty close. I think the one before was about half a ball below the knee, and the third ball was about a ball outside, low and away. And they're good pitches from Crick, ones that you got to force the umpire to make a call. Don't make it easy for him. Don't make it easy on the batter to let it go by. But, hey, get on base by any means if you're Buddy Dueling.
Tanner Thomas, a double back in the first, came around to score. Fastball high above the letters. Middle of the infield looking for a double play. That would go a big way to try to stamping this win here for the Beavers. First baseman Stubbs holding on. Dueling, outfield medium depth, more on the deeper side. The 1-1. The 1-0, I should say. Now 2-0. Get it sooner than later here.
One of these days.
Houston Parker would be next, and Nick Caruso, who haven't all really contributed a whole lot. Parker has, but not Caruso today. But bats that are dangerous, no doubt.
Nice pickoff move from Crick over there. Dueling with some speed, obviously wants to get in scoring position as soon as possible. Not going to be moving likely in a fastball count. 2 stolen bases on the year for him, though. We've seen him run.
2-0 popped him up. Going to reach the outfield. Everybody going to need to converge. Look out. Sliding play by Davis. Did he hold on? He did.
Boy, Chris Davis has just had a day. He had the rope last inning to get the runner out at home. Got his first professional hit. Had 2. Had one back in the 7th to keep the inning. In the 7th to keep the inning alive. That was a 3-run inning for the Beavers. A sliding play there.
Wouldn't be something if Caruso came up and just hit a bomb. I mean, we've talked about his ability to hit balls on a line and hit them hard. Just hasn't gotten a lot of luck, quite frankly, in really, terms of the balls he's hit.
Really hasn't. And he's been, a couple degrees of launch angle away from some of those probably having home run distance. But Crick's got to worry about this guy first. Grand slam over the last weekend.
Guzman feeds to Sakian, over to first. Bingo! Just what the doctor ordered. Nothing becomes of the leadoff walk in the 9th as Crick slams home another save here today. He just walked 2 batters this year compared to 9 strikeouts. And save number 2 in the books for a team that now has 4 wins. Your thoughts?
A very good game. The Beavers finally got the bats to come alive. They got big contributions from a bunch of different people in the lineup, primarily newcomers, and that's the reason why we had the showcase and we have to bring these new people in. And Vaughn Joshua and Josh Hines look like they made some good decisions. They brought in some bats that they needed, and those bats came alive today, and the Beavers finally get back in the win column, a much-needed one.
Shea started, Sanders relieved. He saw some good innings here today. Galindo followed him, kind of changed up speeds, and Crick came back in, and one of the harder throwing arms in the league did a nice job himself. Vaughn Joshua able to celebrate a win with his team here today, exchanging high fives down the third base line. Beavers able to finish this one off here today. Back with more after this in our Detroit Mercy postgame show.
Today, then. Great seats at a great price. Get them safer, simpler, and smarter with Ticket Smarter. A proud partner to the biggest names in live sports and events, including ESPN events and iHeartRadio. TicketSmarter has seats for over 125,000 live events and 48 million tickets for sale. All backed with the TicketSmarter 100% ticket guarantee. Thinking about your next great live event? Think smarter. Think TicketSmarter. Get your tickets your way, guaranteed, at TicketSmarter.com.
You hear about the promo that Jimmy's John's got going on? 5 off 20? How they pulling it off? Magic? You got David's Copperfields in there? Show yourself, Copperfields!
Jimmy John's. $5 off orders of 20 or more.
Down to Kara. She's with an interview inside the ballpark here today. Maybe not. We'll stick with it here on the USPBL Network. Getting ready to talk down there with Marcos Castillo. Maybe she will take it now. She will. Here's Kara, and her second game as an in-game host.
Fans, I'm here at the Michigan Orthopedic Fan of the Game. He went 2 for 4 today, so let's hear. How do you do it? What's your secret? Give me some sort of showdown.
I mean, I just try to do my best and play team baseball, and good things happen.
Awesome. So what's your mentality going up to the plate every single time?
I'm the best hitter in the world.
Got to have the confidence, right? Got to have the confidence. So you hear it from him first, and have a great day, everybody. Right back to you, Johnny.
Good win for the Beavers here today. Stick around, more post-game when we get back on the USPBL Network.
Slide into a new home. Work with a local mortgage pro who works for you. Get a cheaper, faster, easier home loan. Find a mortgage broker near you today at findamortgagebroker.com.
They call me Prospects. Since the day I was born as a diver's watch, the challengers of the world have taught me many things. Life is not a numbers game. It's about challenging ourselves. No matter what happens, just follow your heart. These pioneers drive our generation forward, not by setting records, but by never giving up. Keep going forward. Prospects.
Available at Lucido Fine Jewelry.
As your neighbor who works at Ascension, Michigan, and a cardiologist who's practiced for more than 20 years, I'm going to keep asking, how are you feeling today? Your care can't wait. Getting care sooner can mean catching things before they get worse. At Ascension, Michigan, our ERs and our hospitals and other sites of care are maintaining strict precautions for your safety. Studies have shown that people will get care sooner if they're encouraged by their doctors, family, and friends. Get the care you need at getascensionmichigancare.com.
Times are tough right now. It feels like the bottom of the ninth and we're down by 2. But we've seen tough times before. And just like baseball has always been more than just a game, Chief Financial Credit Union is more than money. So it might be the bottom of the ninth, but we're the home team, and we've got runners on base. Batter up, America. It's time to play ball.
One thing that makes Detroit Mercy unique and different from other universities is that the faculty truly care about you and they're always there to help. Whether it's asking questions after class or going into the office hours, they're always there to lend a hand and really make you feel at home.
People are here to work together, and whether you have a question or you're discussing topics within the class, you can go up to your professor and they know your name. They're just willing to help you become a better overall student.
Detroit Mercy. Build a boundless future.
Elevate your life on the road with a new Lincoln from Crest Lincoln. We're here to provide a purchase and ownership experience that's on your terms. We have new Lincolns arriving every day, or take advantage of ordering your Lincoln exactly how you'd like it, and you'll receive an additional $1,000 benefit towards that purchase or lease. We're celebrating 100 years of elevating the driving experience. Discover the possibilities at Crest Lincoln in Sterling Heights, or visit us today at crestlincoln.com.
We build roads, bridges, wind farms and pipelines, schools to skyscrapers. Our members create monuments. We operate. We're the operators and mechanics behind the advanced heavy machines that move Michigan forward. We maintain boilers and HVAC. Our members run the complex heating and cooling systems that we all depend on. our training is second to none, and safety is our priority. We are operating engineers 324, and we keep Michigan running.
We're the financial champion of Michiganders. Whether you're a goal getter or dream chaser, an empty nester or up-and-comer, anyone in Michigan can bank with us. Michigan Schools and Government Credit Union.
Welcome back to the ballpark. A nice 5-4 victory for the Beavers here today. Jeremy Otto for your Detroit Mercy postgame show here today. Joined by Luke Fenley now, our second interview here today. But, Luke, a nice team victory for you guys today.
Yeah, it was a good win. We put together some runs, got some good hits, played well enough defense that we got it done. Pitchers did their thing. So, yeah, it was a good win, good team win.
You look at Austin Shea's line here today. Maybe, it's not the most impressive on the surface, but I think it's impressive for a lot of reasons. Number one, he kind of battled back after, some leadoff hits or some of those hits that could maybe break your back. But he did a nice job here today.
Yeah, absolutely. He kind of grinded at first. It was kind of hard to, with a tough infield, He got the outs we needed, kept us in the ball game, and he did a really good job.
I think it was a good mix of bullpen arms as well, because when you look at it, Sandness, obviously a guy that's usually a starter, and then Galindo comes in, who kind of a change of pace velocity-wise, and then you have Crick, who throws hard.
Yeah, they were huge for us. Bullpen guys stepped up for sure, put up zeros for us in the innings. So, that's what you want out of the bullpen, and they did it for us. So, tip of the cap to them tonight.
For you, mostly shortstop in college, just maybe 10 games here or there at second base. How's that transition been kind of full-time there for you?
Yeah, I like it. I'll play wherever. I love playing defense, making plays. So wherever they put me, I'll be there. Second base, easier throw, I guess. Yeah.
5 seasons in college, like we mentioned. Your last season was in the leadoff spot as well, which is where you've been here. Is that kind of a comfort spot for you lately as well?
Yeah, same thing. Wherever I put, I'll try and be ready to hit whenever. But I do think leadoff spot is a good spot, important spot for the team, get the team going right away. So I'll do whatever I can to get the team going with the leadoff spot.
Well, Luke, thanks for stopping by here today. Best of luck going forward.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
It's Luke Fenley, one of the better players on this Beavers team. They get a big 5-4 victory overall here today. We'll see you tomorrow for some doubleheader baseball on the USPBL Network. First pitch at 5:30.